depending on what kind of work they have, how they're feeling. So just like many other events, that was something for them to decide the night before or the morning of whether or not they would come with me. The night before, this is Sunday night, after the shooting, they wanted to stay in our bedroom, so the four of us stayed in the bedroom with my wife and I, and the next morning we decided that we would have the girls join us, and that's something that they absolutely wanted to.
The police have said this shooting wasn't targeting your family, but it is the second violent incident during your run for governor after a man tried to stab you during a campaign speech. Fighting crime has been one of your themes in this election. Do these incidents help make that case? What do you hear on the campaign trail?
Well, as I travel around the state, I hear from a lot of New Yorkers who are greatly concerned about rising crime. They want to see more support of men and women in law enforcement. They want some of these pro-criminal laws like cashless bail to be rolled back. They want to see district attorneys actually doing their job. There's a lot of support out there as it's being discussed, the option to remove the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, the constitutional authority that's given to a governor here in New York where we don't have recall elections. So one of the main reasons why I got into this race was because I feel like much more needs to be done to take back our streets. And whether it's cashless bail that needs to be overhauled to give judges discretion to weigh dangerousness, or repealing the HALT Act because our corrections officers are being assaulted more. There's discovery law changes that need to be rolled back. There's a number of other lower profile laws that also are adversely impacting safety and security on our streets. And there's just a lot more high profile crimes that are taking place right now in New York. I mean, just look at what's happened over the course of the last week or two, and that list has a feel as if you're going through a list of high-profile crimes from the last year or two. So I will obviously, be sharing the mother killed last week in front of her 3 kids because of the cashless bail law not keeping her husband detained, and the person was released the day before. And some of these other crimes that we're seeing, like a guy taking an axe out of his backpack at the McDonald's on Delancey Street in Lower Manhattan, swinging at tables and walls and customers, and then instantly released due to cashless bail. I'll tell those stories, and I obviously have a strong personal connection that dates back to being raised in a law enforcement household. My running mate just retired with nearly 25 years of experience in the NYPD and was a commanding officer of the 70th Precinct in Brooklyn. We're going to talk about all of this and why we believe strongly that there's a need for this change to be able to take back our streets.
Governor Kathy Hochul has said the shooting outside your house, when she was asked about it, she said it shows the need to work together to get guns off the streets.
I will continue, as I've been on this journey as governor, to do everything we can to ensure that our streets are safe. That is one of my highest priorities.
I know you've been critical of the state's new gun restrictions, which were changed recently after being struck down in court, and they're still being challenged in court. Democrats outnumber Republicans by a lot in New York State, though. So is that a losing issue for you?
Well, first off, there's still more that needs to be known about who the shooters were, what their motives were. Now, Kathy Hochul has called on American Express and MasterCard and Visa to flag all gun purchases as suspicious. And the argument that I made when she first made that call that I would highlight here, while we still wait for more information about the shooting that took place outside my home on Sunday afternoon, it probably did not start with a swipe of an American Express card. The person who was the shooter was probably not a concealed carry permit holder. Obviously, the person who did it wasn't a law-abiding New Yorker looking to safely and securely carry a firearm solely for self-defense. So the problem was that the week after the United States Supreme Court overturned New York's unconstitutional concealed carry law, she went so far in passing a new law where everyone woke up on a Friday morning and there was no bill. By that afternoon, they were having a bill signing, and they were infringing all over First Amendment rights to trample all over Second Amendment rights. It was obvious that their new law was going to get overturned by the courts. It was just a matter of weeks. It was, in fact, unconstitutional. So what we should be doing is that everybody should be working together to go after criminals carrying illegal firearms, committing crime after crime after crime, and they're still out on the streets. What we shouldn't be doing is targeting law-abiding New Yorkers who want to safely and securely carry a firearm solely for self-defense. So that aspect of it has been one of the very biggest disconnects of this debate. New York already has the strictest gun control laws, and obviously that didn't stop a gang-related drive-by shooting at my own house just 2 days ago.
Abortion is another issue where the governor could maybe argue that public opinion is with her, at least in New York. There have been ads running for months calling you extreme on the issue of abortion. How do you counter that?
Well, here's her problem is that when New Yorkers woke up the day after the Dobbs decision, the law in New York was exactly the same as it was the day before. Nothing changed. A comma didn't change. And I'm not going to roll that back. But she's trying to create an issue. But that doesn't change the reality that in New York, they've codified far more than Roe. And it doesn't change the reality that I'm not going to roll that back. There's a less than 0% chance that the Democrats who control the New York State Assembly are going to send me a bill rolling that law back. So what we should be doing is actually talking about the issues that New Yorkers are saying are the most important issues to them. And the issues are focused around the breaking point of a New Yorker who's deciding whether or not to stay here. New York leads the entire nation in population loss. And the reason is because they feel like their wallet and their safety and their freedom, the quality of their kids' education are under attack. And they're looking at other states and they feel like their money will go further, they will feel safer, they will live life freer. We have to be acknowledging that and talking about what we are going to do to reverse it. And the fact that Kathy Hochul doesn't want to talk about the high cost of living, about cashless bail and DAs who are refusing to do their jobs, and what needs to get done to restore a balance in Albany to support our men and women in law enforcement more and make the streets of New York safer. The fact that she doesn't want to talk about her pay-to-play scandals and all the corruption, the way that she's raised tens of millions of dollars for her campaign. And it's very telling to the people in New York that she's trying to get away with just one cable debate for 1 hour at the very end of October, over a month after the start of absentee mail-in voting. We should be having multiple debates around the state about all of these issues, but instead she just wants to hide behind TV attack ads. And I believe that voters deserve to know where we stand on issues before they vote, not after.
With a month left, do you change your strategy at all? Do you stay the course? I know it's an uphill battle in New York just by the numbers. It's been, I think, 2 decades since a Republican won a statewide race in New York. Do you stay the course? Do you change strategy? What do you do with these remaining weeks?
I entered this race just over a year and a half ago, April 8th, 2021. My strategy today is exactly the same as it was when I first got into this race. The only thing that changed that was significant was who we were running against. When I got into this race, Andrew Cuomo was still in office. He then resigned. But the issues that we're talking about and the importance that New Yorkers put behind wanting to know what we're going to do to make life in New York more affordable, wanting to know what we're going to do to make the streets of New York safer, are actually even more of an issue now than they were then. So what we were talking about when we entered into this race in many respects are even more important than how important these issues were when we first got in.
New York Republican Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the campaign.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion covers of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-94-BIBLE. That's 844-94-BIBLE. 844-94-BIBLE.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. That's why you get live 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, because every home deserves to be protected. Right now, get 40% off the whole home security system named the best of 2022 by U.S. News & World Report. Visit simplysafe.com/holiday to save big today. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
We tried Dynovite for gut health and immune support, and after a couple of weeks, our little Gizmo was acting like a puppy again. His coat was shinier, he had a lot less scratching and shedding, and he seemed like his happy old self.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Get 10% off your next order of Dynovite nutritional supplements for dogs at Dynovite.com.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Columbo and Katie.
Wednesday at 2:27, Tony and I will speak with Jonathan Dine. He's the Libertarian candidate running against Eric Schmidt and Trudy Busch Valentine for the U.S. Senate seat. And we'll also catch up with Mark Close.
Weekdays at 2 on NewstalkSTL.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. As my daughters would say, it's fall, y'all. That means it's the perfect time to call Hanson's. Prime time for Hanson's to come out and do all that fall trimming before winter storms can bring down trees and limbs on the homestead. Get on the Hanson's schedule for winter dormant oil applications to protect your trees from insects taking shelter over the winter, and a perfect time for Hanson's to put you on a preventative plant health care program. Everything you need for winter can be found at Hanson's. Hanson'sTree.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
She's a great conservative author, film producer, Nina May.
And I keep telling my liberal friends, I say, you think you're going to escape this? No, this is exactly what totalitarian governments do. They start with the low-hanging fruit, and then they're going to go after you because they can't trust you. No, we're going to have to line you guys up against the wall and shoot you.
Wow. You have liberal friends?
Vic Porcelli. Live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Got some news for you.
When it's important to you, stay informed. It's on News Talk STL.
The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again.
Inflation, gas prices, fuel, it's all up.
There were vocal protests against mobilization.
Russia and Putin are struggling badly.
We got to give our men and women of Homeland, Border Patrol eyes.
We're in favor of America. We're in favor of an America First economic policy, an America First foreign policy.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
Favorite and the Renaissance man. Oh, and the two aces and queens, yeah, have fun against them. The NL postseason on Fox and FS1. Let's go.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 12th. I'm Ted Lindner, and this is the Fox News Rundown. President Biden opening up in an interview Tuesday about two of the greatest challenges facing the world right now, Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the economy. Fox's Jill Nato with more.
As Russia continued its missile assault on Ukrainian targets, President Biden said Vladimir Putin misjudged his ability to invade Ukraine and suppress its people.
I think he is a rational actor who's miscalculated significantly.
The president told CNN threats emanating from Russia could result in catastrophic mistakes. And as inflation takes its toll on American wallets, he was asked about the potential for a recession in the coming months.
There's no guarantee that they're going to be I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it'll be a very slight recession.
But the International Monetary Fund on Tuesday warned the world economy is headed for stormy waters. In Washington, Jill Nato, Fox News.
A jury in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, being asked to decide if the admitted Parkland, Florida gunman should be sent to his death. Fox's Eben Brown's got more.
The gunman who admits to killing 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in February of 2018 could soon find out if he'll be sent to death row. A jury has spent weeks listening to reasons why Nicholas Cruz should be condemned to die for the crimes to which he's pleaded guilty, and also to reasons why his life should be spared. The jury now deliberates starting today. Florida law requires juries decide if death penalties apply in capital cases. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Today is National Farmers Day. Fox's Jeff Manasso has more on that.
Every October 12th, we honor our farmers, acknowledging the hard work that goes into keeping food on our tables and supplying a nation. A day to thank farmers and ranchers, the unknown individuals who plow, sow, raise, feed, and harvest. Ag American reports that National Farmers Day was once called Old Farmers Day, hearkening back to when agriculture was much more common in everyday life and when it was done without modern-day technologies or gas-powered engines. Festivities are planned in some communities nationwide honoring one of the world's oldest industries. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Well, Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot was estimated to be worth $445 million with a cash value of $224 million. The winning numbers drawn were 3, 7, 11, 13, and 38 with a mega ball of 1. But there was no winner of the big jackpot on Tuesday night. So now the jackpot has risen to at least $494 million. And the next drawing is set for Friday night. Hope you get out and get some tickets, and good luck for that Mega Millions jackpot on Friday night. I'm Ted Lindner on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
You have a real choice on November 8th with Robert Crump running for State Representative District 82. Crump will stand up against the killing of unborn children. Crump will oppose the Defund the Police movement. Robert Crump will strongly say no to confiscating guns of law-abiding citizens. Crump will use no nonsense, just common sense. Conservative solutions to solve our city's problems. On Election Day, make your vote count. Vote for Navy veteran Robert Crump for State Representative. Paid for by Citizens for Crump 2022, Mary Teresa McLean, Treasurer.
Hey, Columbo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, including braces. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile Braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile, and incentives and insurance can lower the price even more. Plus, New Creation offers in-office financing. Learn more at newcreationdentalcare.com.
The Range St. Louis West is all about safety. That's why training is a critical part of what we do. No one wants to be in a situation where seconds count, but help is minutes away. But if that day comes, are you ready? No matter what your firearm experience level is, we have courses and instructors that can help. The Range St. Louis West is the area's premier training facility, shooting range, and all things firearms retail facility. Check us out online at therangestl.com or stop by and visit with our professional staff. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
St. Louis's place to talk.
Because that's where the votes are getting stolen. When you get into the facts and logic and reason thing, it drives me crazy because you're right. I call it the oh my God virus.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, I am excited about a new streaming platform called VidGo. VidGo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. VidGo has all of my favorite live sports networks. They have a great choice of news. All of that for $59 a month. You deserve the freedom to be entertained at a price you and your family can afford. Please go to VidGo, VIDGO.com/Bill to check it out. On this Wednesday, self-protection is something that is not emphasized in America. It's rarely even taught in school. That's because our society is built on a belief that most things will work out in the end. But that is no longer true. And today we must be very aware that the cavalry is not coming to save us. In modern America, we are very much on our own, especially if our family is dysfunctional. Examples. If somebody hurts you physically, punishment for that person is no longer assured. The progressive left is destroying the concept of crime and punishment, and the civil courts are largely in disarray. If economics overwhelm you, you may well enter the deprivation zone. It is imperative that Americans save money. Most don't. Having a weak financial position in a country of 330 million puts you in peril. Finally, it is almost beyond comprehension how badly many politicians are performing. President Biden has put every American in a downward spiral with his insane economic policies. What's the protection against that? There is none. So we all need to wise up and protect ourselves and those who depend on us as best we can. That should be rule number one in the USA. Self-reliance. Back after this. Many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Newstalk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News, analysis, opinion. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL.
When it comes to election time, obviously we talk in terms of Republican and Democrat. And that's really all that matters right now in these races. Yes, I know there are some third parties out there. Yes, I know there are a couple of independent candidates, but for the most part, they are just irrelevant to the conversation. Well, when you look at Tulsi Gabbard announcing yesterday she cannot in good conscience remain in the Democratic Party, it reminded me that there's a lot of people who are disaffected by the two main parties. So if you're not fully on board with the Republican Party, but you're really conservative or really small L libertarian, or you're not fully on board with the fringe left of the Democratic Party, but you're on that sort of center left space, what do you do if you want to be involved in the conversation and you want to make a difference? We're talking about that this morning. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. Let's start off with something really scary. And I know it's really early here, really early. But the St. Louis Post-Dispatch this week had an article about just how frightening things could get in the Missouri legislature because conservatives like Nick Schroer and Mary Elizabeth Coleman and some others are apparently likely about to get elected to the state Senate, and it might make the state Senate more conservative. And to the Post-Dispatch, man, that is frightening. So you know what we did? We got that scary Mary Elizabeth Coleman on the show with us on Tuesday. Here's what she had to say. I was reading the Post-Dispatch that they're scared because Mary Elizabeth Coleman and Nick Schroer might be elected to the state Senate. And according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, they are hard right, and they could make the state Senate more conservative. So be afraid, people. Be very afraid. Hi, I'm Mike. That's Ken. Joined now by State Representative Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
Hi, Mary Elizabeth.
The very scary Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
You're so scary.
So scary.
I was going to say boo.
You scared me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
I have that effect on people.
Yeah, it was funny because this popped up like in my social media feed literally while we're on the air. I think it was about this time yesterday, and Mary Elizabeth texted me. She goes, I think you said you didn't even know about that article until it popped up, and I hadn't read it yet. And then
I hadn't even read it. I was listening to you dropping my kids off at school, and it came on, or you were talking about it, and I started dying laughing. And Chris and I were riding together because my car broke down and it's at the shop and like whatever. And I said, Chris, is this every morning? This is such a funny thing to me that this is, this is the perception that a conservative mom from Arnold is terrifying to people.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me, in the very first paragraph, with a new crop of hard right Republicans, that's you, by the way, hard right Republicans expected to join the Missouri Senate, some Democrats are worried that the upper chamber's priorities will swing more to the right in the next legislative session. And of course, then they go on to, how you...
That wasn't even my favorite part. My favorite part was when they were like, we called for a comment from this person and this person, this person. They didn't bother to respond because, why respond to people who are going to misquote you? Yeah. And then I actually called them back, and they say in the article they didn't like what I said, so they just didn't quote me.
Wow.
She moderated her responses for this article. I was like, I didn't moderate anything. I just told you guys what I thought. And, they chose not to print any of it because they decided it was not going to fit the narrative.
Mary Elizabeth, when you hear this stuff, when you see this stuff on TV, you being called hard right, you've got to have pause and just go, what are they talking about?
Well, I mean, I think what I see is a media, echo chamber that has gotten so far away from what average Missourians, average Americans think, that the views that I hold, the views that you hold, the views that Nick holds, really are representing our district and our voters. And to make these kinds of crazy claims that we're somehow out of step with the electorate, it's really insulting to the guy at the grocery store who says to me, hey, thanks for passing SEPA, or the grandmother who's been praying outside of Planned Parenthood for 50 years, thanks for passing Missouri's trigger bill to outlaw abortion. They just cannot wrap their minds around that these are things that most Missourians really value. And so they got to paint us with these broad strokes or try to label us in ways that are kind of farcical.
Well, you may call it in touch with mainstream voters in your area, but remember, according to the Post-Dispatch, which takes its sort of lead from the Democratic Party, everything you just described is scary.
I know, it's true. Nothing's more terrifying than a conservative woman.
Well, actually, there's a lot of truth to that, to the media.
Yeah, really.
But let's talk about the part where, and they are accurate, when you look at you and you look at Nick Schroer and you look at some of the others, Ben Brown and some of the others, it is absolutely feasible, and I am holding out hope that you all can force the state Senate to be more conservative, because the holdup, the backlog, when it comes to actual conservative policy has been in the state Senate, not even so much in the House. It's been in the state Senate. So I think we should try to make their fears come true.
Well, so Nick and I were accused by the speaker of being our own caucus. We sit next to each other on the floor, and he was always worried about what were we planning and what were we doing, what were we trying to do to move forward the agenda that, like I said, most voters really hold in the House. And I was talking to Travis Fitzwater and Curtis Trent, and we can't remember a time in the state's history that a group of friends who have the same ideological views are moving into the upper chamber together. So there's 5 of us who've served together in the House that are moving over into the Senate. Ben Brown from Franklin County, he and I are friends. We know each other. But the 5 of us from the House that are moving over together, we've been working together for many years, and we like each other. And I don't know that that's happened in at least modern history. Nobody really can talk about when that has happened. And so we like each other, and we want to have solutions, and we want to move forward the conservative agenda, and we don't want to negotiate with the Democrats. And I think what you're going to see is this new group of senators really working together to make sure we deliver for Missourians the stuff that they expect: protecting women's sports, expanding gaming access. Right? You've got people going across the river to do stuff that isn't legal in Missouri. Anyways, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great, and I really appreciated the laugh yesterday morning as I was driving and hearing how scary Nick and I were.
Well, Mary Elizabeth, I mean, you mentioned that you have a really cohesive group of senators with you. What are you battling any other Republicans, though, that aren't so conservative, as well as Democrats?
So I've been working hard to get across to and visit with the senators across the state. And I will say what is uniform, no matter who it is that you talk to, is they're tired of the fighting within the Republican Party. What they want to see is a functioning Senate that is working together and that is not, negotiating with the Democrats. It's negotiating with each other to find what's the right way. There's different conservative ideologies, right? So, like, for example, the fight over the special session about tax cuts. Some people wanted to give back more money to Missourians because we have record budgets. And I think that's great. That makes a heck of a lot of sense. And there were other conservatives who were arguing, you know what, Biden administration just tied this woke gender ideology to schools that are receiving subsidized milk programs. And if Missouri wants to get these awful federal programs off our back, we're going to have to do what South Dakota has done with Governor Noem and say we're going to be fiscally independent. We're not going to rely on the federal government to fund these programs. And so they were worried about cutting taxes too much. That's a conservative position, and one that we can fight and negotiate between ourselves, right? Like, we don't have to involve the Democrats. We have supermajorities. They don't know how to govern. So let's govern. Let's work together to move this forward. Yeah. So I have not seen that yet. But I also, we haven't gotten sworn in yet. There's things that are going to happen.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot. And one of the things that, 2 things, I know we just got a minute or so left here, because I want to get to the framing that the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, I think, is showing us how they're going to address the upcoming legislative session. But when you go to the tax cuts, and I was pretty vocal about the disappointment I have in that, there are still too many Republicans who have a government-first mindset when they say this is the biggest tax cut in history, $700 million, but none of us are going to actually notice it. There wasn't a deduction. The governor wanted the standard deduction to be doubled. We would notice that, but a few dollars here and there, they're still arguing well, we gave you some, so we get to claim a tax cut. But the reality was they're more worried about the government keeping its coffers full than people actually feeling and experiencing a tax cut with the kind of inflation we're dealing with right now.
Well, and we saw, we just got the revenue numbers this week, I think yesterday or the day before. Yeah, yesterday. Today's only Tuesday. And saw that our numbers in September have held. There was worry, we're starting a recession. We're in a recession, and that means that we're going to have the economy can start to falter. And so we don't know how long we're going to have these record high revenues. Like, when are they going to stop? But it looks like it's not stopping anytime soon, which means let's get more money back into people's pockets. And so I think you're going to see another round of tax cuts this session, because there were other ideas about ways people want to put more money back into people's pockets, whether it's getting rid of the grocery sales tax. I have filed that, or whether it's, doubling the standard deduction, whether it's accelerating the income tax, whether it's forcing the city of St. Louis to get rid of their earned income tax, or their extra 1% tax.
Yeah.
Like, these are things that the legislature can and should do, and I expect we will be looking at.
Okay, I've got one more question for you here in a second, but I just want to point out that to a lot of people, government having less money and spending less money, that's a concept that's very scary. Okay, real quick, Mary Elizabeth.
I know Missourians don't know how to spend their own money better than the government. According to those people.
So real quick, they use the term hard right like 4 times in that article, and I'm guessing that's a preview of how they want to create the narrative, whether it's you or Curtis or Nick or whoever. Hard right. I mean, those are the terms we use to describe Eastern European politics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I mean, you saw the editorial they ran against me this weekend already.
Yeah.
They've compared protecting the unborn to the Iranians. So this totalitarian regime, this is the way that they are trying to frame it. And I just don't think people are going to believe it. I don't think that standing up for individual freedoms, for getting the government out of your wallet, for letting you be able to send your kids to school and to grow your business, those are not positions that are going to make people be concerned. I think they're going to say, yeah, that's what we all think. Let's get people out of, let's get out of the way.
All right, State Representative, hopefully soon to be State Senator Mary Elizabeth Coleman. Thank you for being back on the program and obviously scaring the crap out of all of us.
Thanks, Mary.
Well, thanks for having me on. Bye, guys.
All right, got the news roundup coming your way here in about 4 minutes, right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. What's happening today? Here's your first dose of the news you need to know. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
That's
Bongino.
When Donald Trump said he was spied on, the Hunter Biden laptop was real. 2 things that are absolutely positively confirmed as factually accurate. Leslie Stahl was like, sir!
Weekdays at 11 on News Talk STL.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby. Only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Columbo and Katie.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, would you be able to publicly state for the record that Tony Colombo is your favorite Italian on News Talk STL?
Tony, I love you, but you can't hold a candle to your co-host there.
All right, but am I better than Vic at least? I want to just be better than Vic Porcelli.
They want to win your mind and your heart over. That's what they want from you, Mr. Secretary.
Tony Colombo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile.
So when you're mobile, stay mobile.
Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the NewstalkSTL app in the App Store or at NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Some weird stuff in the news today.
Yeah.
Really weird stuff. I'll get to that in just a second here. Here are three of the stories I'm looking at. Sam Page and Mark Mantovani, they are going to debate.
Are they?
Actually going to happen. We got the details, which I'll tell you about here in a couple minutes. We'll talk about it right after 6 o'clock a little bit. But by the way, just I'm sure we can call this unrelated. It's related. Under the Page administration, there's now a massive overspending and budget deficit problem in county government. Got some of the numbers. I'll tell you about those. Also, here in just a moment, testimony in federal court says that the FBI tried to spend a lot of your money to shore up the Steele dossier. Facts be damned. I've got that report for you, like I said, in just a minute or so here. Also, get this. This is really, really weird. There are some in government, I'm talking about the federal government here, who want to control how you drive. Now, when I say control how you drive, I don't mean put up traffic signs and have law enforcement write tickets if you do something wrong. I mean control your car physically, limiting what you can do while driving.
Yeah, do you remember those little insurance things you plug into your car back when they first came out? I was like, no.
Right.
Because that's what this is all leading from, I think.
Yeah, but this isn't tracking it. It's literally taking control of your car.
But it's getting data from your car into your car.
It's got that, except it's real time.
Yeah.
Whereas that just sent it in. This is the next step. This is the real time. So I'll tell you about that. CNN did a story on it. It's really bizarre. All right. Guess which city is ranked most dangerous in the United States?
It's not New Orleans anymore?
It's not. That's the murder capital, but overall dangerous.
Oh, Portland?
St. Louis, now considered the most dangerous city to live in the United States. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten reports.
That, according to a Wallet Hub study, not just because of the city's high assault rate, but also the dangers of car accidents and natural disasters, like flash flooding. The study also notes disturbing police assault allegations. The safest city in the United States to live in? The study says that's Columbia, Maryland, because, among other factors, it has the fewest traffic fatalities of cities surveyed. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Now, we are number 2 for murders as well. So, in addition to the assaults, we're number 2.
So, most dangerous and most murders. That's
second most murders.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, per capita.
Yeah.
Per capita. So,
second.
Yeah. Well, and meanwhile, over in St. Peter's, their problems aren't quite as hard and heavy. The St. Peter's City Hall actually spending time and money punishing a guy for having too many flowers in his yard. I'm going to give you the full update at 6:05. Remember this case of Chris Bank? We talked about this. He likes his sunflowers. Yeah. They literally took him to court and used city attorneys to go after a guy, and they won. They got a first-round win. Chris Bank may appeal it, but that's what they're spending time and money on, is a guy who, by all accounts, has a nice lawn. He just has too many flowers and not enough grass, and somebody complained, and it's a city ordinance, and they're like, this is the city ordinance. You got to obey. Really stupid. So I think there's actually a bigger picture than just the flowers and the turf. But yeah,
you think?
City of St. Peter's actually going to court to prosecute a guy for flowers in his yard. So we'll talk about that at 6:05. All right, I mentioned this just a minute ago. Special counsel John Durham, he questions a key witness over the origin of what we now know as the Steele dossier that happened Tuesday in federal court. Fox News' Brooke Singman has the report as soon as I can find it here. Brooke Singman, there it is. Brooke Singman has the update.
Yesterday, special counsel John Durham questioned the first witness of the trial of Russian national Igor Danchenko. Now, Durham has charged him with 5 counts of making false statements to the FBI over the 2016 anti-Trump dossier. FBI supervisory counterintelligence analyst Brian Auten testifying that a group of agents met with Christopher Steele overseas in early October 2021 about his dossier, which contained salacious allegations against Trump and members of his 2016 campaign. During questioning, Auten revealed the FBI offered Steele $1 million to corroborate the dossier's allegations against now former President Trump, but Auten testified that Steele could not.
Wow. There you go.
Well,
can't say I'm surprised. The $1 million kind of surprised me. But
yeah, it surprises me, but what are they going to do about it?
Nothing.
Here's the biggest problem. What are they going to do about it? I mean, to me, if that was to happen on the right, there'd be people in jail.
And there should be people in jail if they happen to the right. But there should be people in jail happening from the left, and there just won't be. I mean, this is if there's a shred of truth to what was just alleged, and I think based on what we're seeing from the FBI, I don't have any reason to doubt this. I think the FBI said, look, $1 million, you connect these dots, make it work somehow, make it fit. If they're regardless of right or left, somebody does that, that's corruption. End of story. That's corruption. Somebody should be going to jail. I don't think anybody will in this case. That's bottom line.
Well,
Yep. Okay. KPLR is going to host one debate between Sam Page and Mark Mantovani. That's going to happen November 1st at 7 o'clock. So we'll have plenty of reminders. We'll probably talk to Mark before then as well. But Page and Mantovani agreeing to just one debate, which is about all they're really going to have time for, considering how close the election actually is.
Yeah, that'll be good though. I mean, just to get them out there, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Sam Page will love to deflect a little bit, and
it's going to be interesting.
He's going to have to because he cannot be running on his record or his team.
No,
there's no way he's going to be able to do that.
This is just a complete failure of leadership. All right. By the way, if you live in Missouri, today is the deadline to register to vote for that November general election. And by the way, we are going to review the proposed constitutional amendments on the Missouri ballot. That's going to happen at 6:35 with our friends from Freedom Principle, Missouri. All right, just ahead here. You know what? This whole thing with we'll talk about it.
Hello, St. Louis. Do you suffer from dry cough, static electricity, shocking the pet's nose when you go to pet them? Then you're in need of an April Air whole home humidifier. Jones Air and Water will install an April Air 600 model in the month of October for $650. For all News Talk listeners, find us on the web at joneswater.com or call us at 636-899-1040. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance? Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It has happened again. For the second time in 5 days, Europe's largest nuclear plant, a Ukrainian plant is surrounded by Russian troops, has lost external power that's crucial to its safety system.
International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi says agency monitors at the Zaporizhzhia plant are reporting the interruption. Backup diesel generators are keeping nuclear safety and security equipment operational. Grossi has tweeted, "This repeated loss of the plant's off-site power is a deeply worrying development." I'm Charles de Ledesma.
President Biden vowing unspecified consequences for Saudi Arabia after the Saudis backed OPEC's decision to cut oil production. The White House accusing the Saudis of siding with Russia because the production cut is expected to boost Putin's oil income, which is used to pay for his war in Ukraine. Some members of Congress who want to kill the COVID vaccine mandate for members of the military think that they may have found a way to do it.
Members of the conservative House Freedom Caucus are calling on Republican leaders to delay passage of the annual defense authorization bill until after the new year if its demands, like repealing the military's COVID-19 vaccine mandate, are not met. The group says in January, a new Congress may include GOP majorities in either the House or Senate that can rework the legislation. The group wrote in a letter to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell on Tuesday, congressional Republicans still have the opportunity to stand in defense of our nation's military if we stand united. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
The Biden administration urging the Supreme Court to steer clear of a legal fight over classified documents that were seized from former President Trump's Florida estate. Watching Wall Street, right now, Dow futures 90 points higher, NASDAQ futures up 71, S&P futures better by 16 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
What roads for part of the area this morning? We've got some scattered thunderstorms headed the main line that will come through a little bit later on. Just one incident reported. It's 44 eastbound past Williams. I have CPD out there in the right lane. Looks like just a stalled vehicle. Everything else is in pretty good shape. This report sponsored by Blindster. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer in soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Steph's Pizza, legendary St. Louis-style pizza and pasta. Just the name makes your mouth water. Also, for your next get-together, pick up a Steph's Party Platter. And if it's Monday, you get a large pizza for the price of a small. Steph's Pizza in St. Charles County and Chesterfield Valley. Steph's Pizza is always convenient for pickup or delivery. Check them out at stephspizza.com. Tonight's a good night for legendary Steph's Pizza.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemode.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemode.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
The midterm election.
Decision 22 News.
It's going to put some pressure on all of us to up our game.
Decision 22 Analysis.
A midterm election route.
Decision 22 Opinion.
You're going in for a problem.
Decision 2022 happens on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Big decisions being made by voters in Missouri. I mean, obviously in Illinois as well. But in addition to all the elections for offices, there are multiple constitutional amendments on the ballot. And at 6:35, our friends from Freedom Principle, Missouri, are going to be on with us to go over what it is that you're actually voting on. Because let's be honest, a lot of people, even those who are engaged, don't read those constitutional amendments, and they look at it and there's the paragraph that describes it and you make a decision on the spot. We're going to give you the information you need to make a more informed choice. Once again, 6:35. It's 6:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. You got Gabe Pfeiffer here and Ken Williams here. Right around 6:20, got the details on the upcoming debate between Sam Page and Mark Mantovani. And also, by the way, it turns out that there is a massive budget deficit, and they're kind of in a position to say, do we cut services or raise taxes? Didn't Jane Duker just warn us about that on yesterday's program?
Yep.
Well, turns out that even the mainstream media is acknowledging that is the case. This is a complete failure of leadership with Sam Page. So we'll talk about that at 6:20 as well. I want to start, and I know that this is not one of these like big, huge, what we call in the business sexy stories, but this thing in St. Peter's, this guy named Chris Bank. Gabe, you remember this story. He's the one, he's got the sunflowers. And he likes his sunflowers.
The sunflower guy.
And City Hall says, you know what? Somebody complained, and we went out there, and sure enough, he's violating our ordinances. So therefore, we cited him. And the first time he pushed back, he was supposed to go to court, and they just dropped it.
As they should have.
But then they cited him again, and they actually went to court yesterday. They actually had a trial yesterday in St. Peter's court. A trial. An actual trial. Municipal trial. Over the sunflower. I wish I could be making this up.
Conspiracy.
And here's the thing. And I've been in a city government. I've been in a municipal government. And I don't understand the mindset that sinks in to some of these. And it's not whether it's a red or blue area. It's not that. It is, we have rules. City Hall sets the rules. The rules are the rules. Now, if this guy had 3-foot tall grass, cars up on blocks in his driveway, okay, that's one thing. Even my libertarianism has a limit because you're affecting other people. But the chain of events, as it's been reported, according to City Hall spokespeople in St. Peter's, somebody called and said they've just got too many flowers. And there's apparently an ordinance that has a ratio of how much turf, how much grass you have to have in comparison with other things like flowers. Now, first of all, no city should have that ordinance whatsoever.
At all.
It's dumb.
None. They all do.
Absolutely dumb.
But they should not have any.
There's a house along Higgy Road in Afton where I live that is nothing but they have these different terraces of blocks, and then they have flowers.
Sure.
And they have zero grass. And it's a pretty big yard.
Yeah.
And it's cool looking.
Yeah.
Now, under that rule, they'd be
They
in
wouldn't
big
be
trouble.
allowed to do it. But here's the thing is that what you hear sometimes is, well, we have to maintain the beauty of our street. It affects property values. So we're trying to protect other people from that. Gabe, would you care to respond to that argument I've heard so many times?
Well, here's my problem is who is it to decide what the nature of the neighborhood is and what is
that?
pretty?
Who is
Right?
that?
Like, because that's kind of what we're talking about now. It's like, well,
City planners.
this is an eyesore. It's like, well, the sunflowers? You mean God's decorations are a problem for you people? You know, so we get into this weird territory, but this is where you're supposed to have the prosecutorial discretion. It's early in the morning, y'all. to not go after this because we're talking about sunflowers as opposed to like what you were saying, some craziness going on, like he had a car or something, or two cars up on blocks on his front lawn. Yeah. Hey, we can't see your lawn. City ordinance says we need to be able to see your lawn. Move the cars.
But there is a real reason for those.
Sure.
I mean, because there are some, believe me, I used to be involved in the Libertarian Party, which by the way is a complete waste of time. Don't ever do it.
Don't do it.
But there were people who's like, it's my property. If I want to grow a jungle out there, that's my business. If I want to store, and once I got into office, I realized, oh no, those things attract pests. Those attract animals. Those attract snakes. That attracts rodents. Okay, so there is a reason that you are affecting other people, and that's where I think your rights are going to end if you start harming other people. But the catch-all phrase is, well, you're harming their property values. No, you're not.
No,
not with that. Here's this. Get this quote here, and I'm looking at the story from, I think I got this one at Channel 4's website. Chris Bank is quoted as saying, I specifically asked for measurements of the violations like any other violation. Where was I in the wrong? And they said it's not up to the numbers. It's up to their own interpretation. So the court says he has to pay a $400 fine. But he says the fight is worth it. He's going to appeal. If he loses, then he's just going to give it up and pay the $400, although it'll probably be $500 or $600 at that point, and be done. Now, City of St. Peter's statement from a spokesperson. Can you imagine being a spokesperson? You go to communication school or journalism school, and your job is to explain to the media why you are spending city resources to hammer one of your tax-paying residents.
You have too many flowers.
Yeah. And Lisa Bedian is a spokesperson for the city of St. Peter's, and she's quoted as saying, well, the judge made the decision based on the ordinance. We just responded to what our citizens were complaining about. This is the process. This is how it all worked out. Okay, here's the thing. You've got the ability to say, oh, you're complaining because that guy has too many ordinance or has too many flowers. We'll send somebody by to take a look at it. And I got to tell you, people in codes enforcements, I've yet to meet one who's like a well-adjusted human being.
Oh, no.
I'm sure there's one out there. But what happens is they're like, oh, we can get him for this. What they should do is drive by and go, hey,
whatever.
Karen, shut your trap.
Yeah,
So
the
what?
people who are determining that they don't like that many sunflowers, well, it's not a number. It's not. We have to look at it and decide. They may enjoy a different flower.
Right.
They may say, well, tulips are really nice, so you could have a whole yard full of those. I just don't like sunflowers. That's an opinion.
Here's the bigger question, and this is why I think I find this situation interesting, is that we're still assuming that neighbors and the city government has some sort of quasi-ownership over your property. That's the bigger picture to me. There should never be any ordinances that say this is the limit to what you can have for flowers or mulch or whatever. It's your property. You want to take some ownership of my property, then you can pay part of my mortgage.
Yeah. Hey, how about that? How about not taxing me on property that I already purchased?
Yep.
But that's a whole other story.
I could go on for an entire show on how property taxes are the most immoral way to tax. But anyway,
But you guys are right. I mean, if it's going to be rental property, treat it like rental property. Just pay a fee. I mean, then they don't have to deal with any of it. Then the city has to take care of all of it.
I pay a fee for what?
If they're renting. If they're going to be treated like rental property, then they shouldn't have to pay all the taxes and everything else.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the owner still has to pay the same taxes on a property, whether it's owner occupied or rented.
I'm saying if they're renting, if they're treating them like instead of owners, they own their property outright. If they're renting, if they're treating them like they're renting,
you mean like the city's treating like they own the property?
Correct.
Yeah. Now I got you. Okay, got it.
Yeah. But one of the things that got me about what you just said there, though, earlier was it's not about the numbers. It's purely up to our discretion, essentially. Right. That's ridiculous. I mean, you've already got the Karens, coming. I love you, by the way, the Karens in my life. I love you guys. I'm just using the modern vernacular as shorthand. But the people in the neighborhood who are complaining about all of this, that's where it starts. That's somebody ought to do something. Oh, I don't like this. And now you've elevated those people into government to say, okay, now there's a law to back your I don't like this. That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Can you imagine being the judge in this case? You go to law school, probably clerked for some, state circuit judge. You spent 10 years getting your education. You spent 20 years practicing as an attorney. Now you're a judge, and now you're sitting there with the official city attorney saying they had too many flowers, and him looking at the ordinance, or she looking at the ordinance and saying, well, I guess technically you're not supposed to have many flowers, and this is what I'm doing with my life after going to law school.
So one of the questions for that city attorney in getting that job is, how do you like flowers? Do you like them?
Apparently that's on the application to apply to be a
Yeah.
And also, the people who are calling in to complain about this, shame on you.
Yes.
I mean, seriously.
Leave your frickin' neighbors alone.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Absolutely. All right, just ahead, Mark Mantovani and Sam Page, they are actually going to debate. I've got the update for that in about 4 minutes, and then at 6:35, let's go over some of these constitutional amendments that you're going to be voting on. That's all still ahead right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
What roads will be the rule this morning? Slow down a little bit. We are only dealing with one incident, though. It's eastbound on 44 at Williams, a stalled vehicle in the right lane. This report sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds with Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order just by using the code RADIO. Offer ends soon, so shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman with the very latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Are you downright disgusted with the corruption of our Democratic leadership at St. Louis City Hall that's been reported in the news?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, Chair of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. If you want to put our city that we all love back on track, you must get involved. If you're ready to be part of the solution, we invite you. Come and meet us. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Columbo and Katie.
This has been going on for years, especially over the last 2 years when the border has been wide open. States like Arizona and Texas and Florida, there's nowhere along the southern border for all of these people to go. And it's been Democrat policy to give migrants bus tickets and plane tickets and let them go anywhere they want.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick, weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a US-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. Former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard announced Tuesday morning that she was leaving the Democratic Party. The news isn't terribly surprising, given the evident growing rift between Gabbard and the party elites. She's been a frequent critic of the direction the party has taken, most notably the divisive wokeness, the push to let biological males compete in women's sports, and the authoritarian impulses on full display throughout the pandemic and in the weaponization of the Justice Department. Gabbard's not embracing the Republican Party or becoming a conservative, mind you. She still seems to hold dear a number of traditionally liberal, even progressive policies. Presumably, she's landing squarely in the independent camp, and that may serve her well in her budding media career. Gabbard is far from alone in distancing herself from the Democrats. We've seen a number of high-profile notables do the same thing. Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, even Bill Maher has voiced his dismay with some of the over-the-top progressive idiocy we've seen of late. Of course, there are some former Republicans who've done the same thing in reverse. Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger come to mind. I know we aren't exactly trading them like ball players, but from where I'm sitting, I'd say we're getting the better end of that deal.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter @SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
What citizen wouldn't want to make America great again?
Live and local.
And their leadership has been substandard.
I think the word substandard is immensely polite.
This is News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right, must-see TV is happening November 1st, at least for the St. Louis region. Here's what's going to happen, and I'm going to tip my hat here to KPLR TV. They are hosting a debate between Sam Page and Mark Mantovani. That's going to happen at 7 p.m. November 1st. Mark it on your calendar now. You definitely want to watch that. Fox 2, which is a sister station there, they're not going to have it on their over-the-air signal, but they are going to live stream it on Fox 2's website. So over-the-air on KPLR or streaming on Fox 2, it's going to happen. I don't know yet how long that debate is. Probably going to be about an hour would be my guess as to what it is, but hour or hour and a half. And I'm really looking forward to this. And we all understand how much I can't stand Sam Page as a politician. And although I've never met him in person as a person, I think he's somebody of just intensely low character. And that's evidenced by what he does in public. But in this case right here, I think what we're going to see, and you referenced this a little bit ago, Ken, where is he going to go? How is he going to defend anything in his administration? Just looking at the record that he's got as far as measurable anything, how is he going to defend what he has done? And then on the other side of this is all the drama that's created because people have stopped kowtowing to him. And last night, Mark Mantovani had kind of an official campaign kickoff at Helen Fitzgerald. Somebody recorded Mantovani's speech. I apologize. I don't know who put this up on Twitter, but this is part of Mantovani's address to apparently a lot of people. I saw some of the pictures. Man, that patio was pretty full out there. So here's one of the things he had to say as far as how he would approach leadership outside of the actual policies.
The current county executive consistently treats people disrespectfully, whether it's the restaurant owner or the gym owner, our municipal mayors, our the county council members, across the board. His failure to just treat people with a modicum of respect causes a lot of this dysfunction in our government, right? And I promise you that that will not be the case as we move forward. We've got great challenges to tackle here. All we need to do is to work together across the aisles in order to focus the attention of the community on these various challenges. And I know we can do that.
Okay, so at something like a county government level, the Republican-Democrat thing should be far less of a factor than it is in Congress or a state legislature or something like that. This should be a very practical problem-solving and administrative government, and it is devolved into all the drama that we see every day.
Yeah, I think even a lot of communities around the country, they specifically have nonpartisan elections in that regard because they want to escape the sort of stigma that comes with national political labels. So you do end up voting more about individuals, their demonstrated capability of leadership, and the type of principles and ideas that they actually have for implementing in your neighborhood. That's kind of where you should always be focused, but it's the shorthand of political labels, I suppose, is useful to some, but I think at this level, probably a lot less so.
Any Republicans that don't plan on voting for Mantovani need to take that broad brush and really kind of decipher what they need to do with it. They really need to step up and just vote for him and get Sam Page out of there.
Did you notice that he just said work across the aisle? Now, that was really important, I think. Now, I don't really care about hearing that from a Republican who's running for the Missouri State Legislature.
Right.
There's no need.
Right.
The Democrats are irrelevant to the state legislature right now. That's not the case in St. Louis County. So Mantovani realizes smartly, and he does, in practice, we need some Democrats to do the right thing and say, listen, this is not working for us. Sam Page is failing everybody in the county, Republican, Democrat, especially, I would argue, especially Democrats in the county. He's completely failing them.
Yeah.
And so we need, I say we, I mean those of us who live in St. Louis County, need enough Democrats to simply do the right thing. What you were just talking about, Ken, regarding the Republicans who are saying, he was a Democrat until 5 minutes ago, I'm not voting for a Democrat. Vote for this one.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you have to take into account political realities. I mean, if you're trying to break into a Democratic stronghold, saying that you're unwilling to work with the other side is suicide. It means what you're saying is, I want government to do absolutely nothing. Even going so far as doing the things it's supposed to do, as opposed to, like you said, with the supermajority at the state level. Well, that's just the political reality of, well, I don't want to capitulate to a side that that's irrelevant.
Right.
Those are different. Those are very different situations. You have to approach them differently. We have to get a little bit more savvy in our political calculations, especially as voters. Guys, we need to take the wins where we can get them. Getting Sam Page out of office would be a massive
That's what
win.
matters. And I'm telling you right now, those of us who are, real, of course, I guess, according to the Post-Dispatch, hard right, be it conservative, we are not going to agree with Mark Mantovani on everything.
Oh, no.
I mean, we're not. He's very moderate. There are things that we're not going to like. There are things that we are going to like. But the most important thing for the health, politically and economically of the St. Louis County region is that Sam Page is removed from office. Now, we're talking not just because he continues to violate the charter and violate court orders and not show documentation that he's quit his side job. Not just that we've had to pass literally charter amendments to force him to obey the other parts of the charter.
Statewide laws to rein him in.
That he continued, that he issued illegal mandates and executive orders that courts had struck down. Beyond all of that, and Jane Duker mentioned this yesterday, there is a massive budget deficit in the county. And keep in mind, this is a guy that spent millions of dollars with no approval from the county council. And there's a $41 million budget deficit, which means something's going to get cut when it comes to spending, but more likely after the first of the year, county government's going to come asking for tax increases if they can't account for this.
And let's not forget what he did to Prop P. I mean, that thing didn't function the way it was supposed to originally, like Gabe said. That's why he didn't vote for it. But I mean, Republicans get Mantovani in, then watch his performance, and then next time maybe he'll have a viable Republican opponent, and then you can vote on that person.
Well,
but
but
I'm just saying, get him in.
Yeah, get Page out.
Yeah.
And it's not even just enough to say get Page out. Mantovani, even though I'm sure there's going to be something we disagree. We've interviewed him, 2 or 3 times. He seems like a really good guy.
Yeah.
But we know he's got leadership skills from his business tenure. That's a vast improvement.
That's huge.
Vast improvement. Now, I don't care who puts a tax increase on the ballot in St. Louis County. I'm voting no. There needs to be massive cuts in spending because they're out of control with their spending. But this is what happens with ineffective leadership and just bad government that puts the R and the D above actually getting jobs done, and you're not constrained by any sort of fiscal responsibility. This isn't about we just don't like Sam Page as a person and a politician. He's bad at his job, and it's going to end up costing all of us money when we are in this massive inflationary period. This matters. Democratic friends, you can still vote one of your own in. But let's get rid of the worst one, and let's get rid. For somebody to be passionate about Sam Page tells me that you and I are never going to agree on anything, and we probably have a very different set of morals and ethics and worldview.
Absolutely.
All right, other votes we're going to be dealing with have to do with constitutional amendments on the Missouri side. Byron Keelan from our friends over at Freedom Principle Mo going to be with us in 4 minutes to give us an update on what those say and what they're recommending. We'll tell you about it just ahead on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Screw your freedom.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Katie. Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch.
News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Police on Monday arrested a 23-year-old man whose 2-year-old child found a gun between the driver's seat and shot himself inside a car while parked outside a South St. Louis AutoZone. The father was arrested after police said he told them he owned the gun and left it in the car. BNSF Railroad lifted its embargo on cargo destined for St. Louis ramps last week. BNSF first suspended its movement along the eastbound Pacific Southwest lane into St. Louis on August 29th because of congestion caused by excessive volume and chassis shortages. Peabody Energy announced it will keep its headquarters in downtown St. Louis. The coal company was debating leaving downtown due to an increase in surrounding violence. Peabody has been in St. Louis since 1958 and is one of the largest private sector coal companies in the world. Some visitors to Grants Farms Halloween nights over the past weekend complained about long lines and traffic jams. The president of Grants Farms said there are plans to add more police officers on site for traffic control and a faster check-in process. Topgolf has announced that its future Midtown location has begun construction. The Topgolf at Choteau and Compton will sit on 15 acres of underused and vacant land and will look just like the one in Chesterfield. The goal is to open the location in late 2023. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
With the rain, we're starting to pick up a couple of incidents. Eastbound on 364 at the east end of the Veterans Memorial Bridge, we've got a crash. Sounds like that vehicle's in the left lane. I don't have a camera there, though. 44 eastbound after Williams Road, we've got a tow truck working with the vehicle in the right lane. Should have that out of there momentarily. Their support is sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds at Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order just by using the code RADIO. Offer ends soon, so shop today, Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman with the latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcast. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values
Haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is Newstalk STL. Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is Newstalk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right, in addition to deciding who the next senator from Missouri is going to be, whether it's Eric Schmidt or Trudy Bush Valentine, it's not going to be Trudy Bush Valentine, but anyway, and deciding your local state legislative race, Missouri voters actually have some really important decisions to make when it comes to constitutional amendments. And there are multiple ones on there. And the reality is most people don't actually go look up and read the text of it, which is one of the reasons that they get put on the ballot in this way, hoping that a marketing campaign can change our state constitution. Now, that's a whole different discussion, but we've got what we've got on the ballot. It is 6:37. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here, joined now by Byron Keelan from our friends at Freedom Principle Mo and Missouri First Pack. And all right, let's just start at the beginning. We got a limited amount of time, Byron. I know you all actually have a meeting coming up where you're going to go into these in more depth and get questions and go through it. When is that going to happen?
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Yes, thank you, and thank you for having me on. It's going to happen Monday, October 17th. From 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the St. Louis County Library Grants Village branch off of Music Road, so across from Grants Farm. We're going to have Josh Lehman from Missouri Rhino Watch and John Anton from the John Birch Society and talk about the various ballot initiatives and the constitutional amendments that are on the November ballot.
All right, so this coming Monday, then. All right, remind me to remind everybody, Byron, because I'll put that out. All right, let's just start at the beginning here. Constitutional Amendment number 1 has to do with overriding the current constitutional restrictions of the state investments by the state treasurer. Very wonky, very technical. What is this actually asking us to change?
Well, basically, for Constitutional Amendment 1, it's expanding the authority of the legislature and the treasurer to invest state tax dollars into broader or additional financial instruments or security areas. And so the state treasurer, right now is restricted by state law to only invest in certain things. And, with the amount of new financial investments that are coming out, this would give him the authority to expand this. The other aspect of this is that the state legislature, right now we have all this excess money and things. And so what this would allow the legislature to do, instead of just spending it on government programs somewhere to get rid of it, or to, is to invest in securities also. So to use some of that like COVID relief money or excess tax dollar revenues that they could, instead of spending it on, like I said, spending on programs, they could invest it into state treasuries or to municipalities or other investments. The one thing about this is that we've seen with this greater flexibility would allow the state treasurer to also take investments out of certain banks and things if they start pushing the ESG scoring. And so by having a greater flexibility, they can prevent our monies from being wasted on social programs like ESG.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that this is something you think people should vote for.
Byron?
Did we lose Byron? Okay.
Yeah.
So, the bottom line is that they're saying that this is something that they support on this particular one. So Amendment 1 has the recommendation of Freedom Principle Missouri. All right, the next one here, Gabe, is the big one. Amendment 3, having to do with marijuana decriminalization. I really can't say legalization because it's really more of a decriminalization, and they're not actually the same thing. So decriminalization is just kind of stepping down the actual level of criminalization. There is some legalization, but within a lot of parameters.
Yeah, it seems to have a lot of built-in requirements, and actually new penalties, I think, is one of the arguments from other groups, too.
Okay, Byron, we're moving on to Amendment 3 right here. The big one, a lot of the focus is on the marijuana itself, but really we're looking at a lot of other aspects of this regarding the way that marijuana is being decriminalized. I think that's inevitable. Is Amendment 3 the right way to do it? Is this a good idea?
No, it's not. And our main opposition to this is two things. One is that this shouldn't really be a constitutional amendment. This issue really should and must be addressed by the legislature only. The other aspect of this, and while the Post-Dispatch wants to deny this, but it really does promote a diversity, inclusion, and equity agenda. And by establishing a chief equity officer in charge of determining whether the ESG requirements of the program are being followed, essentially a credit score for the marijuana industry. And the other aspects of it really is that it creates a monopoly for the medical marijuana businesses. They get first crack at putting or establishing a license for the legalization, and so it gives them sort of the control over the whole industry.
Yeah, and like you said, locking that into the state constitution on it as well. All right, so I've got a limited amount of time. We're visiting with Byron Keelan from Freedom Principle, Missouri. All right, Amendment 4. A lot of people don't realize there is an Amendment 4. And this, let me just read the ballot language. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to authorize laws passed before December 31st, 2026 that increase minimum funding for a police force established by a state board of police commissioners to ensure such police force has additional resources to serve its communities? We already have police forces. What's this all about?
Well, this is actually pertains mostly to Kansas City right now, but basically they're funding the Kansas City Board of Aldermen or whatever their elected people are called they've cut their funding down to like 20% of their budget. And this amendment is saying that anybody that has a state police or a police organization controlled by the State Board of Police Commissioners has to maintain a minimum level of 25%. And so this would sort of stop the defunding of the police. There's a lawsuit by the mayor in Kansas City to try to cut funding, and so this would stop that. This has a potential impact for St. Louis because if the State Board of Control of St. Louis City Police Force goes back under the state, is that they would then be required to maintain this level too. So actually, that is one of the reasons why we are supporting this amendment.
Byron, Amendment 5 actually has language regarding our National Guard, Missouri National Guard, and I haven't even heard of this one.
Yeah, this one happened, is that currently 48 states have a cabinet-level National Guard. Our governor is considered the commander-in-chief of the National Guard, and so under our law, actually the Department of Public Safety is in charge of the National Guard, and so the governor has to sort of go through multiple levels in order to dispatch the Guard or to do things. And so what this really would do is make it its own cabinet position, would streamline the proper chain of command and give the governor the ability to directly talk with the adjutant general of the Guard. And then the budget process, in a sense, is that right now the Department of Public Safety controls the National Guard budget. This would take that out of their control.
Okay, so is siloing that a good idea?
Yes, we believe so. I talked to Adam Shorten, who's the state representative who pushed this, and he made a convincing arguments that, during the time of a natural disaster or state of emergency, time is of the essence. And, the thing is that the Department of Public Safety sometimes has different views on things that the National Guard might be. And so we don't want to get politics involved in this. We want the National Guard to be able to respond, to the person that's the commander-in-chief. And so that's why we support this.
All right, and real quick, because we're a little heavy on time here, Byron, there is also a ballot initiative, not a constitutional amendment, but a ballot initiative calling for a constitutional convention. I've heard a lot of particularly... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this
Pardon me, I'm sorry. Fighting off a sneeze there. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Terrible time for that. But yeah, a lot of people may think, okay, is that the Article 5 Convention of the States thing?
No, it's not. This is for state of Missouri only. This is required by state statute that was put in a while back that we must have this vote every 20 years. So we're opposing this because it is very confusing with the federal constitutional convention. The other thing here is that the process for if it did pass could go very wrong. You basically have a few people that would be in charge of could rewrite the Constitution, or even with a simple majority, pass certain amendments without having to get a supermajority of the vote. So we just totally oppose this on all levels.
All right, and then the meeting that's going to go into more depth is going to happen next Monday. We'll remind people before that. This conversation is going to be available on our podcast on Newstalk STL as well, so people can take this and send it out everywhere if they want to consider what's on the ballot. Byron, we'll talk to you again soon. Appreciate you being on the program.
Great, and they can go to our website to download the actual recommendations.
And that is?
freedomprinciplemode.org.
Easy enough. All right, Byron, we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks.
All right, 314-912-1019. Do you agree or do you disagree? You have some thoughts on it? Let's finish out top of the hour going over these once again right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
have a stalled car that's backing up 44 eastbound from near 109 to Williams Road. They've got a tow truck on the scene. Should have him out of there before long. 55 north, we're picking up some heavy traffic approaching Route Z. Weber to Gasconade is already slow. 270 north, pockets most of the way from Tesson Ferry to Manchester. Already about a 4 to 5 minute delay there. 64 westbound Clayton Skinker to Big Bend is already getting heavy and slow. The Poplar Street Bridge complex, though, still okay despite the rain. This report sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds with Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. All you have to do is use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon, so shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Joe Biden has made Americans poor.
They have no plan to fix all the problems they created.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. I pay cash and close in as little as 3 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and any location in St. Louis. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast, call me at 314-293-3000. That's 314-293-3000. 314-293-3000.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Wednesday at 3:45. We will have Project 21 co-chairman Horace Cooper, and at 4:25, Mike Ferguson will discuss what's on the November ballot.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
The wind begins to howl.
All right, 314-912-1019. Ballot initiatives as far as the constitutional amendments. If you want to hear that conversation again or get more details, just go to the News Talk STL podcast. That conversation with Byron Keelan will be put up, I'm sure by mid-late morning. That'll be up as well. I may replay that at 5:35 tomorrow as well, just to get as much out there. So according to our friends of Freedom Principle, just to recap real quick, Amendment 1, which has to do with allowing the state treasurer to invest money in ways that it's not allowed to now, they said yes, they support that. See, that's the thing. That's the kind of thing that probably should be in a state constitution regarding the way that offices are regulated. You know, so government says that the state treasurer's office can do this or cannot do that. That is likely the right places in the state constitution.
Yeah.
Now, Amendment 3, and you say, where's Amendment 2? Well, Amendment 2 didn't make it on the ballot. So, the amendments are based on like when people file stuff. So Amendment 3, the marijuana one, they are arguing that you should oppose that. And I thought one of the strongest points that Byron made was, one, the state constitution is not the place for this. State law is the place for this. The state constitution, not so much. That's his argument.
Yeah, that was the big part. But I think another big part is I'm always like, anytime you limit the number of people who have the opportunity for something in government and outside of government, I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, when he was making the case that this basically is creating a constitutionally protected monopoly for the businesses that are already there, which, by the way, are the ones who have funded a lot of this campaign that are on there. So I'm not going to say which way I'm going one way or the other. I'm definitely starting to lean one way, but I want to have conversations with both sides still. But I thought that was a really strong argument, saying you basically are creating a pseudo monopoly in the state constitution. I do have a lot of heartburn over the fact that this is a constitutional amendment as opposed to something in state law, just a referendum. That does bug me.
Yeah.
So you've got is it a good policy or bad policy, but then is this the right place to be? And I know, okay, so I'm going to make some, again, I do this all the time, making somebody mad. I think I know what Byron was saying, the equity officer for the marijuana industry. There are people who are taking this so far, and I've actually gotten calls and emails and stuff saying, this is going to create critical race theory. This is a pro-CRT. No, it's not. It's just not in there, folks. You don't. Stop. There are plenty of reasons to disagree with this or not like it. Saying that this is going to lead to CRT in schools just ain't one. That ain't it, Chief. I'm just saying. It ain't. That's not part of it. Now, if you say, well, but they're creating an equity officer and all that for the marijuana thing, okay, well, then point that out, which Byron was pointing to that. But some people are just running crazy with this, saying it's going to put CRT in schools. No, it's not. It's not. But also, again, I have questions on why 39 pages is required to say it's legal for you to smoke a doobie.
Yeah, I question that. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, so Amendment 4, having to do with police funding, and he is right when it comes to the Kansas City mayor, is a guy by the name of Quentin Lucas. He is a big police defender, and the police force in Kansas City financially is just absolutely under assault by the city hall out there. They're about as radical as St. Louis. And so essentially it sounds like what's happening here is this is going to put a floor on the defunding that can happen in St. Louis and Kansas City. So this is a state constitutional amendment that is directed at Kansas City and St. Louis and basically law enforcement on that. Amendment 5, reorganizing how the reporting structure is with the National Guard. I don't know that changes my life one way or the other, but if it's better business, if it's a better way to be more efficient with the National Guard, then okay, Freedom Principle says yes on Amendment 4, yes on Amendment 5, and then the ballot initiative that would call essentially a state constitutional amendment, they say no because I didn't sense that he thinks it's a bad idea to have necessarily a state constitutional amendment, but he thinks this one's really convoluted and probably really confusing to a lot of people. Yeah. So if you're going to do it right, and maybe this isn't the right way to do it.
Yeah, not right now. I mean, we've got a lot going on.
Yeah,
it's like let's table this discussion for later.
And for that, I got the sense that it was leaving too many doors open for things to happen that shouldn't happen with regard to that.
All right, just ahead here. Now, I want to follow up on a conversation we had. We talked about Tulsi Gabbard announcing she's leaving the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party, for the most part, has said, "Hey, don't let the door hit you on the way out." They don't like her anyway because, she's got different opinions than the fringe part of the left. But it got me thinking, can you actually be effective in changing politics and policy outside of the two-party system?
I hope. I'm just being hopeful.
Well, let's find out why. I mean, right around 7:05, let's talk about that. Is there a way to do it? Should there be a way to do it? 314-912-1019. I really want to hear what people think about this. I tried working with a third party. I can tell you I don't think it did much, but maybe you've got a different perspective. Let's talk about it at 7:05. I think this one's going to be interesting.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
For all the women listening right now, I want you to picture a financial advisor. What do you see? It's an old guy in a suit, isn't it? Now, you and your husband, you're meeting with said advisor. Who's he talking to? Him. That's the problem. Deanna Orff of the All Financial Group has seen this failure in the financial industry for years, and she's doing something about it. Join Deanna Tuesday, October 18th for an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's time to talk about your 401k, your business, and your concerns about retirement. 92% of women say they want to know more about financial planning, and this could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event is on October 18th. It's free, but you need to make a reservation today. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services are offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license number 803-9738.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The Biden administration is urging the Supreme Court to steer clear of a legal fight over classified documents seized from Donald Trump's Florida estate.
In a 32-page filing, the Justice Department argued that the case involves extraordinarily sensitive government records and that former President Trump's emergency appeal to the Supreme Court has no merit. Trump lawyers want the justices to overturn a lower court ruling and permit a special master to review the roughly 100 documents with classified markings that were taken by the FBI in August. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Russian-occupied Ukraine is back on emergency power, a development that raises worldwide alarm.
You really don't want to have a nuclear power station in the middle of a war zone, but Zaporizhzhia is close to the front line in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and fighting once again seems to have disrupted the vital cables which bring it electricity.
The BBC's Paul Moss. Another key European energy pipeline springs a leak. This line carries Russian oil to Germany.
The Polish operator Pern says it detected a leak in the Druzhba pipeline, which originates in Russia, on Tuesday evening, about 45 miles from the central Polish city of Plock, adding the cause of the leak isn't at this point known. Firefighters are working at the site of the leak. The incident follows leaks late last month in the Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines running along the Baltic seabed. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
An MSNBC reporter who recently conducted a one-on-one interview with U.S. Senate candidate John Fetterman says a Pennsylvania Democrat is still having trouble following his stroke, problems with comprehension and challenges with speech. Wall Street, Dow futures up 140 points, NASDAQ futures 98 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
As you might expect with the rain, it is pretty much a slow go. 55 North Bayless up to Gasconade, add 10 minutes. 64 West is busy. Grand to Vandeventer due to an earlier incident. It should start to open up. If you're eastbound 64, your heavy traffic is McKnight to Big Bend. We're picking up a little bit of volume. 270 South Ladue down to 64. 270 westbound in North County just crowding West Florissant to Lindbergh. Poplar Street Bridge traffic isn't too bad. It is off the pace, but it is moving. This report sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds with Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. That's Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Oh, Hank, what a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin God.
I'm just going to give you a heads up on a fascinating but some would argue very scary development that we're seeing. Okay, 735, this has to do with whether or not government should be allowed to regulate how you drive.
What?
And I'm not talking about setting the rules. You can't go this fast. You can't turn left here. You can't turn. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actual technology to step in and control your car if they don't like how you're driving.
I've heard of this.
Yes. So 735, you're going to hear from both proponents and let's just say somebody who's got a concern about it, and then me who's got a big concern about it. So 735, this is wild. Technology, government control, safety.
Wrong.
If just one life can be saved. Anyway.
If just one life. Yeah.
We'll do that 735. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 7:07 right now. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. Tulsi Gabbard announcing that she is leaving the Democratic Party actually made more headlines than I thought it was going to have. I think there is actually kind of a ripple effect because of the way she did it. So what she's doing is she's launching basically a podcast, the Tulsi Gabbard show.
Moving into media.
And this is how she announced it, saying that she was leaving the Democratic Party. She just in good faith can't remain a Democrat. I didn't hear anything about her changing her perspective or opinions on anything.
No, she said she's leaving. She didn't say she's joining anything.
Right. She didn't. She's not a Republican now. She wouldn't fit in the Republican Party anyway.
Nope.
She's too liberal on a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Now, among all the Democratic presidential wannabes in 2020, she was, to me, clearly the most grounded and the closest to what I think the median American believes of the Democratic candidates.
Well, at this point, we're just looking for sane Democrats. But there's that.
Sane, smart. I thought she was the smartest one on the stage.
But yeah, there's absolutely that too.
And there was a reason that she wasn't allowed in other.
She eviscerated pretty much everybody else on the stage that one time that they let her out.
Time they let her on.
So they had to get rid of her.
So it got me thinking. Now what does she do? She's got an audience, and so you can just build a commercial audience if you want for your podcast or videocast or whatever. But is it possible to make a difference for better government, to oppose big government, to promote small government outside of the two political parties? And some people would even argue, should there be one? Well, I think there should be one. The reality is we don't have a competent third party. Okay? We just don't.
Yeah.
And I worked in the Libertarian Party for a number of years. I was on the statewide ballot as a Libertarian nominee. I was the national field director for one of their presidential campaigns. So I've been involved in a third party, and I look back and I'm thinking I really wasted time because I don't think I made a difference with it. So we don't have a competent third party. Should we have a competent third party or some kind of independent movement outside of the Republican and the Democratic parties?
Now, and here's where it gets complicated because whenever you get a group together, if you have a group of 10, you're going to have like 12 opinions on every on every issue. You catch what I did there?
Yes.
So the thing is, even if you get it down to like every 10 people has their own political party, nobody's going to agree on everything.
Right.
So you already have to make deals with enough other people in other, these mini 10-person parties in order to get anything done. And eventually, all political decisions come down to a yes or a no. So you're only going to be on one side of that issue or the other side of that issue. So you have to, quote unquote, caucus with a whole bunch of people one way or the other. So then does it matter? Is it meaningful to have multiple other parties involved in that process? Or is it just, well, we're all going to argue inside this party and figure out how much on the yes and how much on the no we are?
I'll hold on to my opinion until let's get Peter on.
Okay,
I think
Peter, you're on NewstalkSTL. What's your take?
Well, I think that the libertarian movement and independents in general have kind of shot themselves in the foot on being effective because they all kind of take a lone wolf approach to everything. Whereas if they actually banded together and, kind of made a decision as a party or as a group, they had some leverage over what happens. That was kind of my first point.
Yeah, and Peter, let me tell you, I think you're totally right about that because what really you're talking about is looking at the small and big L libertarians and saying, okay, individualists, unite. And it just doesn't really work. Yeah.
Exactly. And to the point of getting stuff, I think that goes to getting stuff done outside the two big parties. That's a big hang up. The second one is the media. Like basically, if you don't have an R or a D, the media doesn't give you the time of day. And particularly in some of the national elections, basically you're out of it if you don't have an R or a D. Basically, the media doesn't give you the time of day.
Yeah, Peter, I think you're right. Especially if you have an R in front of your name, they don't give you the time of day.
Well, and then I think that having more parties would be a good thing, simply because it just adds more checks and balances to everything. Like basically, you would have to pull together a group of people, and I think that I guess it could go either way. Either you would have a bill that has a lot less or ear tags attached to it that says, okay, this is what we're passing. Or it could go the other way, I guess, and you would have to add more and more nonsense to a bill to get it to pass. So I think overall you would have more of a checks and balance in place because you would have to go to more people to get something to go through.
Hey, Peter, appreciate you being on the show. I think in concept, I think Peter's right. You know, for instance, you look at there's no need for, if you are on the fringe left, there's no need for a Green Party or even an overtly named socialist party because the Democratic Party's adopted all of their platform positions.
Yeah.
On the Republican side, I would love to see the ideal in government where the debate is not between a conservative Republican and a liberal Democrat. To me, the ideal is a conservative Republican is debating against a libertarian for how small government's going to be.
Yeah, we've eliminated the other.
That's my dream.
So yesterday, when we first initially talked about Tulsi Gabbard, I was like, "Well, wait a minute. She didn't declare a party. What's going on here?" And I was a little, anxious. But then as I'm going home, I'm thinking, "Wait a minute. These signs that people are putting out in their yards and everything these days, they don't have a party." If you'll notice, they're not even on the ads on TV and on commercials, actually, in general, on radio. They don't have a party that they're specifically gearing toward. They're not saying anything about a party.
Unless you are in a deep blue or deep red area. Most of the time you're right, but if you're in an area that is like deep blue or deep red, then they'll run on the brand of Republican or Democrat. But for the rest of the country, you're right. It's name and office that they're running for.
And I guess my point is today, more than any other time, I think if there was going to be a third entity to develop and grab people, like, say, for example, the MAGA movement. You've got a person that is a person, not necessarily a party, that's drawing people toward a certain ideology.
There was talk of creating a MAGA party at one point. What, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that? I don't know, maybe a little longer than that. But at one point, there was talk about a MAGA party, and Donald Trump shut all that down.
And, well, because he's a Republican. He's running as Republican. He needs that support. But at the same time, I mean, it's actually something that today could develop if it would be today if it was going to.
Yeah, I mean, Ross Perot had his Reform Party that came and went.
Yeah.
Andrew Yang is trying to start a party, which is so weird because I looked at his website. I thought, well, that might be interesting for maybe my syndicated show. And basically, he was asking everybody to join his party, and then we're going to have a convention to decide what our priorities and agenda is. So basically, it's come join our party, then we'll figure out what we're going to stand for.
Yeah, it was
That's
weird.
Just dumb.
Well, part of the problem is that the system is not set up to accommodate multiple parties because we have a bicameral system. Somebody has to decide on what the legislative schedule is, and that's whoever has the majority in the House. And you're not really going to get those in a multiple party system. The way you would in let's say a parliamentary system like our hat Canada has. And what they end up having to do though is you just make deals with other parties, and it gets even messier than I think what we have now.
So maybe something along the lines of like the Republican Liberty Caucus, which is more the small L libertarian mindset, trying to grow that within the Republican Party. That's one way that we can try to inject more of that constitutionalism in there, although, Republican Liberty Caucus has to try to keep the anarchists out.
Well, that's an idea.
Yeah, who don't want any government, including constitutional. You got to keep those people out.
But I do agree with Gabe that 10 different parties would be chaotic. You'd never get anything done at that point.
I mean, that's what you've got at 4 or 5 parties at times in Europe where you've got coalition building.
Yes.
But could that be the negotiations that we're talking about, or should it all happen within one party?
Well, I think it's basically all performing the same operations. They're just under different labels because all those little caucuses are little parties inside the big party.
314-912-1019. What's your take on it? Let's talk about it right here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
With the rain, it could be worse, but we do have some slow spots. 55 north, Butler Hill to 270, Bayless through Gasconade, add 7 minutes to your drive time. 270 north, add 7 minutes. It's pretty slow from 55 most of the way to Manchester. We have a crash that's partly blocking the 70 westbound off-ramp at Cary. That's really the only incident we have that's blocking it this time. This report sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds, easy to install, and they're guaranteed to fit, too. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman. That is the latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent.
We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and BluffCityOutdoors.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
Fox News commentary.
BLM founder and real estate aficionado Patrice Cullors has a new backyard project. I wonder where she got the money. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Smart businesses are always looking for ways to improve. Better workdays can start with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps help make sure you have what you need when you need it. We'll stock your essential cleaning products, deliver hygienically clean workwear, inspect your fire extinguishers, and provide first aid and safety supplies. Cintas is with you every step of the way, so you stay a step ahead. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
What does an organization built on a lie and bolstered by years of riots, looting, and white guilt get you? Well, if you're BLM founder Patrice Cullors, it gets you a $1.4 million Southern California mansion and now backyard renovations that include a child's play area and a deep plunge pool. Patrice Cullors resigned from BLM in 2021 after it was revealed she went on a four-property spending spree and used donations to pay a company owned by her baby daddy nearly $1 million for live production, design, and media. She passed off criticism as right-wing bullying and insisted she acted appropriately. But BLM Global cashed in $90 million after the death of George Floyd without ever really telling us what it was for or where it went. But the riot palooza between the end of May 2020 and early June cost approximately $1.2 billion in damages nationally. So perhaps BLM Global coffers should be turned back to the taxpayers who are still funding the repair and the cleanup. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Decision 22 News.
The inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
One of the things we were just talking about during that information segment has to do with whether or not there is a need for another party. Because with Republicans, basically the argument is you need to be loyal to the R. For the Democrats, you need to be loyal to the D. Even if you think this is a bad policy, in the end, at least we're not as bad as those guys over there. And that is, at some point, that can't be good enough. Now, in Missouri, we regulate that through the primaries, and what happens in Missouri is the most conservative tend to win the primaries. So the Missouri Republican Party is much more conservative than, I think, your typical Republican Party. Unfortunately, just the leadership in the state Senate is the Democrat light, which has turned out to be, quote unquote, moderate, but really work against what Republicans prioritize: tax cuts, pro-life, all that sort of thing. And you've got too many, just enough in the state Senate who know the system to slow that down. Okay, well, you can beat them in the primaries. On the Democratic side, they do the same thing. In the primaries, they tend to nominate the most fringe liberal. And now we've got what we've got. So here's the question. If there were a third party that comes up and says, we're going to focus entirely on constitutional limited government, and it's frankly would be a lot of what the Republican Party says they stand for, but here are the issues. Would you consider joining or supporting or voting for the candidates? Because we talked earlier about voting strategically and situationally.
Yeah. I mean, if they're standing in the way of bigger government, of more interventionism, of more government control, then yes, I mean, particular situations, I suppose. I mean, I'll vote for anybody who doesn't want to, take my stuff and leave me alone.
I think and I kind of agree in that. It depends on how far the federal government's going to be taking this thing. I mean, if they start doing the things that we were talking about the cars, just as an example, if they take over, well, we might be able to decide how you're going to drive or stop you from driving.
And in case you think Ken's going all conspiracy theorist, that 735, I'm going to tell you what he's talking about.
Yeah, and things like that. I mean, if the government decide, there are things that they're proposing right now about disinformation panels and 87,000 new IRS agents. What are they going to do with our money? Are they going to digitize it? If they do, can they take it over? I mean, it depends how far the federal government's going to take this. And if they do that, well, I'm going to be looking for some other alternative.
So if a third party comes along that is better on policy, better on ideology, better on being constitutional, better on all that, but that's going to split the vote of the Republican Party. All those people have been holding their nose and voting Republican in many states around the country. Okay, your vote is for the better policies, but the trade-off is that Democrats end up winning. Now, one of the fallacies of government politics is parties claiming they own your vote. You're just taking votes from the Republican. You're just taking votes from the Democrat. No, that's your vote. You can vote for who you want, but you got to be both strategic and principled at the same time.
Yeah, I suppose it's if we're looking at tactical voting versus strategic voting, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, because tactical voting is when, like voting for Mantovani over Sam Page.
If you're a hard right, I'm going to use the Post-Dispatch's term, hard right Republican, and you're like, but Mantovani is a moderate Democrat.
Right.
Well, he's on the Republican ballot. That's the tactical voting.
That is the tactical vote. Mantovani doesn't necessarily advance conservatism in the broad ideological sense, but he does advance the cause by getting rid of the worst possible version of the leftists that's in office right now. I think when we're looking at national politics, we need to tend to look a little more strategically. Where, okay, are we advancing the cause of conservatism throughout the country in our governance? All of those things. So sometimes it may be that, well, you don't deserve my vote here, kind of thing, because you voting for a particular person will harm the conservative brand so much that it'll stick on us on a national level.
The way I look at it is, I cannot imagine any situation where I'm going to vote for a Democrat anymore. But the Republicans still need to earn my vote.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about also having a caucus within the Republican Party to build and to build it that way to the point to where the Republicans respond to your ideology. I think that's probably the better way to go. I'm thinking extreme stuff, though. When I was talking about what I was talking about earlier, if it goes that far, that's an extreme thing that, that's not currently what's going on, I don't think.
Yeah, and there's the group.
I hope not anyway.
And I mentioned earlier, there's a Republican Liberty Caucus that's a national organization, and they've got a chapter in Missouri, and I don't know how many state legislators affiliate with it, but they're basically trying to bring that what I would call more true conservatism, more of that small L, libertarian viewpoint, Barry Goldwater type of, Goldwater wasn't perfect, but, that Barry Goldwater, you could even argue the early Ronald Reagan mindset when he became a Republican, into that mindset there, that more constitutional, limited government, unapologetic, no, that's not government's job, no matter what you see on the media type of thing. And I would love to see organizations like that grow and be effective and provide that incentive for the Republican Party to remain as small government as possible. Missouri side overall, other than in the state Senate, they actually do pretty well compared to most other states. And so keeping that supermajority, but influencing that supermajority in a liberty direction is the best case scenario. Would an effective third party do that? I don't know, but growing something like a Liberty Caucus, I was actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of disappointed the Freedom Caucus dissolved, because I think that they could have grown, would have grown, and probably at some point been the driving force in state politics in Missouri, and I would have loved to have seen that.
I got the idea, but I think it might have been premature. But yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Oh, it's been a while. It's been a hump day.
Hump day.
Yeah. Been a while since you got me with that one.
Gotcha. I did get you.
All right, so 7:35. Check this out. There actually is a proposal out there for the government to control how you drive your car, literally co-pilot as you're driving, so that you stay within the rules. Now, they're going to argue it's all about safety. And if you think, oh, whatever, this crazy right wing. No. I'm going to be pulling audio from CNN's highlight of this. CNN highlighted this technology, and a federal commission, a federal board, is recommending that this be mandatory on all new cars. So I will tell you what it is. You can hear it for yourself right around about 7:34 at this point on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The Missouri Supreme Court is asking Governor Parson for $7 million to pay for the cost of erasing past marijuana-related convictions. The money would only be budgeted if voters legalize recreational marijuana on the November 8th ballot. St. Louis County executive candidates Sam Page and Mark Montavani have agreed to a televised debate. The debate will air Tuesday, November 1st on KPLR at 7 p.m. On Saturday, the Arch will be celebrating Halloween with their Frights and Heights event. Highlights will include a dance party, a 1-hour river cruise, and trams will be decorated with spooky sights and sounds. Peabody Energy announced it will keep its headquarters in downtown St. Louis. The coal company was debating leaving downtown due to an increase in surrounding violence. Peabody has been in St. Louis since 1958 and is one of the largest private sector coal companies in the world. Putt Shack, a tech-infused mini-golf course with a bar, will be opening inside the City Foundry this winter. Putt Shack, the company, just finished raising a growth capital round of $150 million, which will help them with their plans to open 10 other locations across America at the same time. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile is scheduled to be at 4 area Schnucks locations this Thursday and Friday. Godfrey and Edwardsville will see the Wienermobile on Thursday, and DePere and St. Charles will welcome it on Friday. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're not doing badly at all. 64 East, it just looks like it had a busy pocket approaching 141 and then again approaching 170 through Big Bend. Poplar Street Bridge traffic is slow, but it's just around the bend. 55 North, Bayless into the work zone looks pretty heavy. 270 northbound, it's pockets, not a complete jam, but it is slow most of the way from 55 up to Manchester. One crash, it's on the westbound 70 off-ramp to Cary. This report sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds at Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you and at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today. Blindster.com. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemo.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemo.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-672-1566. 855-672-1566. That's 855-672-1566.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Government rules control us in a lot of ways. Okay, you can't escape that. That's part of order, having order. Let's talk about traffic here real quick. For instance, I am not allowed to drive down 14th Street at 80 miles an hour.
Right.
Is that infringing on my freedom as American? Well, I guess you could make an argument for that.
Sure. But justified infringement.
Right. Because it's a split 2-lane road, a lot of pedestrians. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons we say, you know what? I forget what the speed limit is, but I think it's like 25.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's how fast we say you can go. If you go faster than that, you're breaking the rules.
Yeah, the whole idea behind all that is public roadways, right? Public, They belong to the public, so the representatives of the public get to regulate it.
So there's a sign that says on I-70 I can go 70 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does, but
no. They're either going 50 or they're going 85. But yes, that's fair. But those are one ways that we control. Say we set rules. Get this. CNN had this report of this technology that New York City is basically doing a pilot program with some of their city vehicles. The National Transportation Safety Board is recommending that all new cars are equipped with this technology that literally regulates and co-drives your car with you. I'm not kidding. It's a long story, but I've split it up into bite-sized pieces. Here's the first part of CNN kind of heralding this technology, but I've got some real issues with it.
In this electric car, a lead foot can only get you so far. It's equipped with intelligent speed assistance. That means the car knows the speed limit here is 20 miles per hour, and it won't let you go above it.
Do anything. So I'm pressing the pedal, but you see actually the numbers going down.
Driving me is New York City Deputy Mayor Meera Joshi. The city is the first in the U.S. to try speed limiter technology in 50 of its fleet vehicles.
We need to be at the forefront. There's no reason today with so much technology and so much awareness that anybody should die at the hands of an automobile.
Okay, first of all, automobiles don't have hands. But secondly,
I didn't catch that.
Whenever I hear somebody say, we've got so much technology, we can't, okay, I don't want the technology to be trusted over me because that means that the technology is given rights and control over me.
And who has control over the technology?
Somebody does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically outsourcing control to a programmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a little more of a description of what they're actually talking about.
The National Transportation Safety Board is calling on the federal government to start incentivizing car makers to put speed limiter systems in new cars.
We have to remember these aren't just numbers. These are people who have lost their lives.
New York's speed limiter program works through something called telematics. Stored data on local speed limits is cross-referenced with the car's GPS position. Software in New York's cars gives the driver an alarm.
Yeah, there's
Or simply just cuts off the accelerator when you reach the speed limit.
It's called a dead pedal.
This system does have an override. If you press this button, you can accelerate beyond the speed limit for 15 seconds in case you need to merge or speed up to meet the flow of traffic.
Yeah, but then it takes over. So what you've got is your GPS positioning. The system knows where you are, and it knows what the speed limit is. If you go too fast, the system overrides what you want to do and says, nope, we're stopping the vehicle. You're not controlling it.
This is a great question as to where our rights and freedoms begin and where the government regulations, end, kind of thing. Because, like we said earlier, the public roadways are regulated by the public officials. They're empowered by all of us to put the rules in place. That's why we have to have vehicle licensure, we have to have driver licensing, all of these other things, as opposed to our God-given rights, which are supposed to be kind of automatic, but we can argue about that later. So it's a really interesting question there. And it gets really deep when you really think about, okay, well, they have the right to stop us.
Yeah,
when we're going above,
get pulled over, write a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, like if the blue and red lights show up behind you, now all of a sudden you have to have a whole new set of rules that you have to obey. I have to pull over. I have to listen to the guy in the uniform. I have to pay the fine that comes. You know what I mean? So why are all of those have tos different than the I have to allow the car to regulate my movement?
I would say choice.
And that's the difference between when they say incentivize. Okay, well, if there's a free market and somebody says, man, I've got a lead foot, I'm tired of paying all kinds of high insurance, I'm tired of getting tickets, this is good for me, I'm going to do it. Fine, do it. That's good for you. The reality is, though, what they want to push is that this become mandatory at some point, so that nobody is allowed to speed and everybody is going in a digitally regulated speed. And somebody may say, well, that's going to make it safer. What's the problem there? Well, there's a lot of problems. Let's start with the traffic problems on this. You've got 15 seconds to speed. Well, that may not be enough in an emergency situation. I also am really happy, for instance, that my brother sped like crazy for 7 or 8 minutes over 10 years ago when I was having a heart attack, because he needed to get me to a hospital, and the ambulance was several minutes away, so it was faster to do that. If you've got an emergency, you've got somebody in the car who goes into insulin or diabetic shock. You've got somebody who's having a heart attack. They're in some kind of distress. You've got to get to the hospital. You're whatever the case is, you need to have that decision, the ability to make that decision. Also, the creepiness of saying, well, this all is reliant on the GPS. So you are being tracked wherever you go.
Yeah, Will Smith in the movie I, Robot, he steps into his car and he just says, I want to go here. And then it takes him there. And he doesn't even pay attention to the road. He doesn't pay attention to the speed he's going. He doesn't care. And at that point, I would love it. I would love that. But up until that point, I want choice. In the movie, Will Smith has a choice. He can either do that, or what he does is he gets rid of the autopilot and he takes over. At that point, he has choice. I don't think in this scenario you're talking about, Mike, that they're proposing that you get choice. I think you get a 15-second choice, but that's, to me, is not enough.
Right, because you're coming onto the highway and you need to speed up to get past that person or whatever. But then they shut you back down again. So there's a limit. So you better make everything safe within 15 seconds. But beyond that, the very concept that somebody is going to physically stop you and co-pilot your car and keep you within whatever is not where I think we should be going technologically. It's not where we should be going from a policy perspective. I don't think it's where we should be going at all. I think it's incredibly dangerous. Yeah, I'm even going to say that's probably going to prevent some accidents. I'm going to acknowledge that and say, yeah, it's going to stop some guy from driving 75 in a 45, and there's a chance that he's not going to crash into the bank or whatever.
But what about your heart attack? You might have saved somebody in an accident, but you might have died.
Maybe. Right.
I had an idea for basically a national system that coordinates all traffic. So you get onto the highway and you link up to all the other cars, so your vehicle knows where all the other vehicles are. It knows where all of them are going. There are basically no speed limits because it's basically as fast as the computer system can process what needs to happen, it will do it. All the merges are taken care of. You don't get any traffic stoppages. Basically it's the most efficient you can make it, the most safe you can make it, but it is the least free. Right. And that's the thing that stopped me from pursuing that idea any further than where I had it.
So CNN at the end of this story, they decided to go into the auto industry and get some perspective on that.
I think the average consumer is going to see this as an overreach by the government.
Industry expert Carl Brower says it will be up to car makers to accelerate safety without putting the brakes on sales.
I think a move like this is certainly a sign of the future. It's a preview of coming attractions and probably an unavoidable one.
I think that he's right. Tragically, I think eventually government and technology is literally going to control how you are driving, whether you like it or whether you don't like it.
So even if we have it oppose it, it's just going to be here?
I think eventually it's going to be here. I hope it's not in my lifetime.
I'm going to be buying a lot of used cars for a while.
Maintain your cars, folks. Maintain your cars.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Wow. 314-912-1019. Interesting list I found. What are some of the rudest things, worst things people do when they come over to visit at your house? Some of these were kind of funny, but others were like, ooh, I've had people do that. Can you add to the list? I'll tell you what that's all about at 8:05 and then, at 7:50. And then at 8:05, does it bother you that Microsoft in particular is going to be hiring tens of thousands of people, thousands more than they have right now, to develop our software and our office programs in China? Yeah, let's have that conversation at 8:05 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
No major accidents, but we do have quite a bit of volume this morning. North 270 most of the way from 55 to Manchester is jammed up. Northbound 55, you are backing up right about Weber, headed into that work zone in South City. Westbound 55-64 is backed up from the 55-70-64 split to the bridge. 64 east, you've got some heavy traffic either side of Clark's and Olive. And then again about McKnight in through Big Bend. 270 up north, not too bad in the work zone. This report sponsored by Blindster. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any radio. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Wednesday will be 27 days until Timmy falls in the well, the midterm elections. We'll talk to RNC Director of Strategic Communications, Gates McGavick, at 10:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on Newstalk STL.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022, Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
All right, you feel good tonight?
They're back, cocked and loaded. The Family Arena presents 38 Special with special guests Molly Hatchet and Black Oak, Arkansas. Saturday, November 19th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.com. Presented by the Family Arena.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't believe the Democrats are stupid, but I think they don't care.
Live and local.
And embarrass himself at that press conference. He's become kind of clownish, right?
Do you think he's going to run?
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Okay, 8:05. Did you know that the typical office products we use, we're talking about Microsoft, I mean, Outlook, Excel, all these kind of things, there's a good chance that some of that software or some of those programs were developed in China because Microsoft is expanding its workforce in China, including development. What kind of security risk does that have? Because Microsoft also has massive contracts with the U.S. government and massive contracts with the Chinese government. Well, at 8:05, we're going to hear from Paul Rosenzweig, who was a former Department of Homeland Security official. He's now a law professor at George Washington University. But he's raising some red flags about this. So 8:05, you really want to hear what he's got to say here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It is 7:51 at the moment. Got Gabe Pfeiffer in the studio. Got Ken Williams in the studio. I'm Mike Ferguson. Let me just kind of depart for a second from all this stuff. When somebody comes over to visit, do you guys like having company drop by the house?
Oh, yeah. Generally, no. I'm an introvert. So
I love it.
if you are allowed into my house, you are in the inner circle.
Yes.
Right? So I'm generally confident you're not going to do anything that would make me want to throw you out.
Yeah. Rachel and I are pretty social creatures. We built that big patio in the back just so people could. We like it when company stops by. But what are the worst things that people do when they stop by and kind of abuse the privilege of being invited over? Have you ever had any experiences of somebody who's doing something that's like, get out?
Kind of. I mean, I can't confirm it, but I think someone rifled through our back bedroom medicine cabinet.
Really?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I have to say, I guess, it might have been a family member who was having issues with drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that
I
makes
can't
sense.
prove it.
Sure.
But yeah, that would be a real major thing for me. But did you ever get it to where someone sits down in your furniture and then they just plop down in a certain way and you're kind of like,
take it easy, bro.
Show
no, it's not you're not totally opposed to it, but it's just the way they did it, something like that.
So I found I found a list of these things. I don't know if we can have time to go through all like 10 of them, but for
I need
instance,
to know.
Here,
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
How about this one? I'm gonna start with number 10. Expecting a tour. Somebody drops by and they expect you to like, hey, show me the whole house. Show me the whole property. Well, guess what? Upstairs is probably a mess. I just got done working out and that room's also my office and I got papers everywhere. I really don't want to show you that room.
That's not this kind of visit, bro.
Right.
It's like
No, exactly.
There are certain times where going over that makes sense, but no.
That should be initiated by the owner.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Now,
let me show you the place.
Okay, so here's another one that I think is I don't know that I fully agree with. If you go to a party or you invite somebody over that says showing up empty-handed, if I invite somebody over, I don't feel like they should have to bring me something.
No,
I don't think.
no,
I disagree
no.
with that one.
Yeah.
Now, how about this one? Disrespecting house rules.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
If you've got something where you prefer people not wear their shoes through your house, take your shoes off.
Yeah,
clearly.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If there's a pile of shoes by the front door, add yours.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
yours.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't plop down on the couch, all right?
No feet on the thing. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Here's a good one. Somebody comes over for dinner or something. I mean, let's assume like you've invited them.
Yeah.
Showing up, getting to your house, and then telling somebody about your allergy or your gluten-free or your dietary restriction or whatever the case is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You give me a heads up if you're going to make some dietary. It's like, here's my casserole or whatever. It's like, oh, does it have this in it?
Yeah.
I can't really. You mother. Get out of my house.
What about pet allergies? I mean, someone comes over and suddenly it's incumbent on you to get your pets out of the way.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, if somebody invites me over, I don't have any pet allergies, but
if I did, though, I think I would tell them in advance.
Yeah, I'd probably say, oh, hey, I'd love to come over. Hey, I hate to ask this question. I've got a really bad allergy to whatever, and just give me a heads up. And so I don't want to get sick in your house or whatever the case is.
Right.
Yeah, that would be along the same ways there. Here's one that I think drives a lot of people crazy: bringing an uninvited plus one.
Yep.
You stay outside.
No kidding,
See, the
man.
thing is, Gabe says that, but I think he would do it.
I've seen it happen.
That I would bring somebody.
No, that you would tell the plus one to stay outside.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, we don't have enough for you.
Yeah, I was only planning on. Yeah, exactly. Now this goes to what you said earlier: snooping.
Unless it's your dog. You can bring your dog to my house.
Well, they can bring your dog to your house.
Yeah, to my house.
I would love to play with your dog, but I don't think Rosie the cat would love to play with your dog.
Yeah,
exactly. Snooping, looking through stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
mentioned
like
that in a very extreme way with like that, but yeah, people looking through stuff. I mean, the stack of magazines, fine.
Oh, sure.
Great. That's fine.
If it's out on the coffee table, it's supposed to be rifled through.
Right.
If it's in a closed drawer,
no,
that's not for you.
Don't look through the drawers. Don't look through the medicine cabinets. But I have actually heard a lot of people talk about that actually happening. Hiding or ignoring a mess. Now, what they mean by that is if you spill something, tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. God,
I
yes.
probably have something to clean it up off the carpet.
Right away, because you need to, because some floors really get affected by that.
Don't hide it because you're embarrassed and then let me find it later.
Or here, if you do it, you clean it up.
Right.
I mean, like that's how it works.
That's
for
how
me.
it works in my house too.
It's like if I'm over somebody's house and I spill something, it's like, oh no, I spilled it. You got paper towels?
Hurry.
I'm rushing to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's
like,
my fault.
we've got a very light colored rug in the front room, and so you spill something, coffee or whatever,
Or
on
red
there.
wine.
Yeah, red wine, and
always
tell me
Always.
right away because I've got something that'll help get that up,
And it will get it up all the way
immediately
if you do it immediately.
Right, if you do it right away. This is the one that drives me nuts. Overstaying your welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are social signals
Yes.
that we all put out when it's time to go. If you don't get those, I'm going to tell you that it's time to go.
Yeah, a long day tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah,
I tell you.
look, the yawn, the stretch.
Really appreciate you coming out.
Well, it was so much fun tonight, wasn't it?
Everybody's sitting, and you as the house owner stand up. It's time to go.
Yeah, speaking in past tense. Boy, this was fun.
It was fun.
Speaking in
It was
past
fun
tense.
tonight.
Exactly.
The other one is don't move stuff around.
Yeah.
I have something there for a reason.
Yeah.
Leave it there. Leave it there.
Don't touch
Too
my
many
stuff.
people do that stuff.
Leave my stuff alone.
So be a good guest. Otherwise, you're free to come over and visit.
It's mine. Mine.
Just ahead, that office program you use that you think is secure, may very well have been developed in China. We'll tell you about it.
Summer means you're constantly on the go, so let Steph's Pizza make mealtime simple and good. Dine in, pick up, delivery, even DoorDash. Steph's Pizza is known for great pizza, but they also have pasta and more. With 4 locations in St. Peter's on Jungerman, on Elm at 370 in Zumbell, on Winghaven Boulevard right next to MasterCard, and in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com and simplify your summer meals.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. That's 800-979-3060.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. New revelations about that controversial dossier that was at the heart of the Trump-Russia probe.
The new information came during the trial of Russian-born lawyer Igor Danchenko, accused of lying to the FBI. During questioning, an agent revealed that the FBI offered ex-British intelligence officer Christopher Steele up to $1 million if he would corroborate the salacious and now debunked allegations in his dossier, something Steele couldn't do. Danchenko, Steele's main dossier source, denies lying to the FBI about his sources for information about the dossier. Jeremy House reporting.
Inflation at the wholesale level rose 8.5% in September from a year earlier. It was a third straight monthly decline, although costs do remain painfully high. Today's report from the Labor Department also shows that the Producer Price Index, measure of price changes before they reach consumers, rose 0.4% in September from August. That after 2 months of decline. As anti-government protests roil cities and towns in Iran for a fourth week, tens of thousands of Iranians living abroad have marched on the streets of Europe, North America, and beyond. Ali Velez is with the International Crisis Group and says a wall of fear in Iran has fallen.
There's just so much anger and frustration in the country that it's hard to imagine that the current generation of protesters in Iran would be cowed just by the system resorting to its traditional iron fist in trying to put down protests.
The current unrest in Iran, sparked by the death of a 22-year-old woman who was being held by the country's despised morality police. Stock futures higher ahead of this morning's opening bell. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Al Abaroa, founder of Knight Strategic Wealth. Inflation is a problem, markets are volatile, and the risk of running out of money in retirement is real. That's why I love annuities, and you should too. Your financial advisor doesn't want you to know that with our annuity strategy, when the stock market goes up, you earn a market-linked return that locks in every year, and when the stock market goes down, your annuity won't lose a dime. There are no unnecessary fees, and it works for your investments, money at a brokerage firm, or even money at a bank. It's simple, it's safe, and you should only invest if you learn the facts. And that's why savvy investors work with us. Want to learn more? Text FREE to 833-898-0500, and we'll send our retirement readiness kit directly to your phone right now. If you want to use safe, low-fee annuities to build a retirement portfolio that will go up with the market and never lose money, get our retirement readiness kit today and see how this strategy can help secure your future. Text FREE to 833-898-0500. Text FREE to 833-898-0500.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
It's mainly just volume this morning. We're still pretty slow, 55-64, approaching 4th Street onto the Poplar Street Bridge. 64 westbound still slow east of Hampton, most of the way to a fender bender at Clayton Skinker. We've got northbound 270 still slowed down most of the way from I-55 up through Manchester at about 18 minutes to your normal commute time there. A crash 70 westbound at Bermuda has the left lane closed, so you've got heavy traffic back near Lucas and Hunt. This support is sponsored by Chucky on USA and Sci-Fi. And I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is here, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky is here to chuck stuff up, including our freeways. Chucky Season 2, Wednesdays 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
You really want to get the best results for your family or even your business. If you're looking to acquire an office or land, you need to talk to Rodney and Jen. Especially if you're buying or selling a home, you need to talk to Rodney and Jen Wallner. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. You know the number, but I'm going to say it again. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. It really is that easy. And for anybody who is saying, I know I need to make a move, but I'm just nervous because I don't know what the market's going to be doing. I don't know what's happening in the market around the St. Louis area. That's why you should call Rodney and Jen Wallner. They are going to give you advice that is based on what the current situations are, but more importantly, it's based on what you and your family need. This is a family-run business. They obviously have the resources of Berkshire Hathaway, but this is a family-based business who is in business to help your family. There's a reason they sell 15 times more homes than the typical real estate agent in St. Louis. It's because they go a step farther, 2 steps farther, 10 steps farther than what pretty much anybody else will do. They get to know your situation personally, and that makes a huge difference. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a slogan. It makes a massive difference. 314-810-SOLD. Just give them a call. Talk to them for a couple minutes. You're going to realize there's a difference, and that difference is good for your family. 314-810-SOLD.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again.
News, analysis, opinion.
Inflation, gas prices, fuel, it's all up.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up,
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
One of the most complicated debates that we have affects our lives in such profound personal and security ways, and that has to do with, frankly, the digital world. You know, we know about the different apps. We've heard about online security of your information. But what if one of the, if not the biggest software company in the world has extensive ties to a country that's not exactly a good friend to the United States? Well, that's what's going on with Microsoft and their investment in China. What does that mean to you? I'm Mike Ferguson. I am joined now once again by Paul Rosenzweig, who is a former Homeland Security Deputy Assistant Secretary. Paul, first of all, welcome back to the program. It's been a little while since you were on the show. What we're talking about initially, and to me this seems like the starting point, is that very soon Microsoft is going to have 10,000 employees in communist China. First of all, what do we know about what they're doing? Are we talking about people making hardware for chips? Are we talking about software development? Are we talking about all of the above? What is it that's being made there that affects how we operate our daily lives here?
Well, first, thanks for having me back. It's always good to chat with you. I appreciate the opportunity. And as you said, Microsoft has announced a further expansion of its workforce in China. And that reflects, I think, a growth in Microsoft's presence in China that is part of a long-term trend. So it's not so much an immediate thing as this has been part of a growing decision by Microsoft and how it's going to operate in China. And you ask, what do they do there? Mostly, it's software, because that's mostly what Microsoft does, is software development. A lot of it is, some of it is research and development. They have, for example, a pretty significant working group that works on artificial intelligence in China with Chinese researchers. And they also, obviously, the biggest thing they do is they sell their product to Chinese individuals, corporations, and that's the whole suite of Microsoft products with which most of your listeners are almost surely familiar. Microsoft Outlook for word processing, collaborative tools like Microsoft Office that allow you to share documents and things like that. Probably most of your listeners have come across some of Microsoft's products at one time or another, and they're available in China.
We buy all sorts of stuff from China every day. You go to any store, Walmart, Target, Kohl's, whatever, and you're probably buying a lot of stuff made in China. Obviously, digital technology and computer systems is a whole different thing. Is there a concern for the Chinese government somehow gaining economic advantages through these products that we're buying and using in our homes and our offices?
Yes, there's a great deal of concern. I mean, some of it is direct, some of it is indirect, and so let's just give a few examples. The U.S. government has pretty much banned the manufacturer of chips and handsets, a company called Huawei, from the American market. We have done that because we're concerned that the manufacture of these items by the Chinese in China and their sale here would create vulnerabilities in our own systems, either through Chinese ability to infiltrate and exfiltrate data, all the way to, at the more extreme end, being able to turn off networks remotely. Well, that's a pretty extreme example and unlikely, but that's a concern, and it has led the Department of Homeland Security to issue alerts and require, for example, that Chinese manufactured products like that be removed from federal systems. To take a more prosaic example, we've had for many years concerns about the way in which TikTok, a social media platform that mostly younger folks use to post videos and stuff like that, gathers personal data about its users and we fear transmits that data to the Chinese authorities. Some of that would be, risks of blackmail and stuff like that. But other parts of it is that large volumes of data are essential to the development of artificial intelligence programs. And so TikTok is essentially a research arm of Chinese artificial intelligence development. And then there's the indirect ways in which we're worried, because many of America's tech companies, and we started by talking about Microsoft, but it's also useful to add, Apple is another good example, have so much business in China that they are at economic risk because of their investment in the region. And that means that, they are likely to be caught between America and China if we ever get into a more direct economic or, God forbid, physical, confrontation with China. American tech companies are, indirectly risks because of national security implications simply from their extensive presence in China.
I want to tap into your experience with the Department of Homeland Security, because Microsoft has massive contracts with the U.S. government as well. So what's the right approach to maybe a regulatory scheme regarding Microsoft or other tech companies that have dual interests, not just with the United States or not just solely a commercial interest? Because we know that Microsoft, among others, they have complied with the Chinese government, the CCP's request for censorship and stopping certain information from going to the public. So what's the right way to balance out the free market and also the security aspects of this sort of digital technology in this digital world?
Well, two things. First, before I try to answer your question, which is a really hard one, it's not just like freedom of speech issues. As a condition of operation in China, both Apple and Microsoft have given the Chinese government unique sets of access to their own code and to their and to the construction of their operating systems. So it is more than just that not being able to find Tiananmen Square on Bing. It's really a which is bad, but isn't a threat to the United States. The threat to the United States is because of the kind of dual use nature of the technologies that are at risk here. What to do about it is a really hard question. We just started with the CHIPS Act, which is going to provide financial incentives, not in the software area, but in the chip manufacturing area, which is offshored mostly, to bring it back onshore, which I think is probably good industrial policy. It was passed on a bipartisan basis. So this is one of the things that Republicans and Democrats are kind of in agreement about. We might think about trying to extend that somewhat to software development, but it's extremely hard because our tech companies are so deeply engaged both in our own government and in the Chinese market. I mean, it would be a challenge, I think, for us to eliminate Microsoft from the federal government's IT systems. I suspect what I would really say is the easiest and shortest answer is, at least from a national security perspective, is to diversify America's IT work. That is to say, we're not going to be able to get Microsoft out of China. And I'm not sure we would want to, because the free market is a good thing, as you say. But what we really should be able to do is have the federal government have two systems. Half the people running on Outlook and half the people running on Gmail or something like that. And that way, if there is a problem with Microsoft, we have a backup. Certainly for cloud storage issues, for example, we ought to be using at least two different cloud providers. That's pretty easy. And the U.S. government is kind of trending in that direction, and which I think is a useful idea.
All right, Professor Paul Rosenzweig, lecturer at George Washington University, also senior fellow at American University, Washington College of Law. Thank you so much for the perspective. People definitely should be following you. What's the best way to get in touch?
My Twitter is at Rosenzweig P, ROSENZWEIG P, and that's me.
All right, Paul, thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
That's some pretty scary stuff right there. Got some thoughts on it? 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Give me more information.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Westbound 70, still some pretty significant delays from the city limits to Bermuda. We've got the left lane closed there due to a crash. Northbound on 270 past 44, just getting one in the right lane. That traffic was back past Tesson Ferry. Give yourself an extra 11 minutes or so there. 44 eastbound still loaded up 270 into the construction zone at Big Bend. 64 eastbound has a heavy pocket centered on Clarkson. Then you're just kind of hitting the brakes a little bit between 170 and Big Bend. This report sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com is the place to go for custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds, easy to install. They're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joel Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on News Talk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up. So if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
Fox News commentary.
BLM founder and real estate aficionado Patrice Cullors has a new backyard project. I wonder where she got the money. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Smart businesses are always looking for ways to improve. Better work days can start with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps help make sure you have what you need when you need it. We'll stock your essential cleaning products, deliver hygienically clean workwear, inspect your fire extinguishers, and provide first aid and safety supplies. Cintas is with you every step of the way, so you stay a step ahead. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready.
and get ready for the workday.
What does an organization built on a lie and bolstered by years of riots, looting, and white guilt get you? Well, if you're BLM founder Patrice Cullors, it gets you a $1.4 million Southern California mansion and now backyard renovations that include a child's play area and a deep plunge pool. Patrice Cullors resigned from BLM in 2021 after it was revealed she went on a four-property spending spree and used donations to pay a company owned by her baby daddy nearly $1 million for live production, design, and media. She passed off criticism as right-wing bullying and insisted she acted appropriately. But BLM Global cashed in $90 million after the death of George Floyd without ever really telling us what it was for or where it went. But the riot palooza between the end of May 2020 and early June cost approximately $1.2 billion in damages nationally. So perhaps BLM Global coffers should be turned back to the taxpayers who are still funding the repair and the cleanup. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
8:35. Let's take a look at some of these constitutional amendments that Missouri voters are going to be deciding in November. We caught up with Byron Keelan from Freedom Principle, Missouri. Talked to him really early this morning, so I think what we're going to do is put that on the air here so that you can get kind of an in-depth look at some of these constitutional amendments. I'm Mike Ferguson, 823. Got Gabe here, got Ken here. A few things happening in the news just want to kind of bring your attention to. Hey, guys, Gabe, what's the most dangerous city in America? What do you think the most dangerous city is?
The most dangerous city.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, New York and LA look like crap holes right now, but maybe not per capita because there's so many people. Detroit? New Orleans?
See, I think that'd be a really good guess.
Mhm.
New Orleans recently passed St. Louis as the murder capital of the U.S. per capita.
Right.
But a new survey says St. Louis is now the most dangerous city to live in the United States statistically. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten has the story.
That, according to a Wallet Hub study, not just because of the city's high assault rate, but also the dangers of car accidents and natural disasters, like flash flooding. The study also notes disturbing police assault allegations. The safest city in the United States to live in? The study says that's Columbia, Maryland, because, among other factors, it has the fewest traffic fatalities of cities surveyed. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Yeah, so we're looking at the overall picture, and once again, St. Louis considered the most dangerous in the United States.
Oh, that's fun. Now, I guess the flash flooding kind of pushed us over the edge, which...
Well, contributed to it.
Yeah, I mean, when you include natural disasters, we only get a couple here and there. I mean, in terms of this actual St. Louis area, and floods are one of them, and just a bad year.
But you still can't ignore that the major part of this is the violent crime in St. Louis.
Absolutely.
City.
No,
And we're talking
obviously,
the city.
that's...
You've got to admit that
Actually, that's the bigger part of it.
Yeah, the flooding might have put him over the edge, but
I'm
that's
just trying to be
temporary
nice.
thing.
Trying to be nice.
Floods go
My poor
away.
town.
Violent crime.
You were, I know.
continues.
I know. You were trying.
I know. Yep. All right. Now, of course, while St. Louis City is dealing with a violent crime, which obviously is spilling out to other parts of the metro area, St. Peter's apparently has other things to worry about. Good for them. They have the luxury of going after one of their citizens who had too many flowers in his yard.
How dare he, man?
I'm not kidding. Here's the update to the story.
Flower boy.
A guy by the name of Chris Bank is a resident of St. Peter's. No one has accused him of having a disheveled or unkempt property, but somebody complained to City Hall because he has too many sunflowers.
What's his last name?
Bank, B-A-N-K.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And too many sunflowers, and the ratio of turf, grass to flowers, isn't within the city code. And so he got prosecuted by the city of St. Peter's. They actually had a trial yesterday for this, and the judge ruled in favor of the city. And so he might appeal, but he says if he loses that, then he's going to pay the $400 fine. So congratulations, St. Peter's City Hall. This is what you have the luxury of doing, is going after a guy who has too many sunflowers in his yard. How stupid.
That's so dumb. I mean, unless the plant in your yard is like Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, nobody should be worried about what you have planted.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. This is the bigger picture here is that almost every city has these ordinances because the busybodies who end up in so many different city halls, not everybody, I know there's some good people in city halls, but there's a lot of busybodies who just kind of live to control people, and they're not good looking or smart or articulate enough to get elected to the state legislature or Congress. So they take over and control people's lives from a city hall.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
They were a hall monitor in third grade.
Yes,
went to their head.
Exactly. All right.
Peaked in third grade.
Yeah. Special counsel John Durham questions a key witness over the origin of what we now know as the Steele dossier. That happened Tuesday in federal court. We've got an update here from Fox News' Brooke Singman.
Yesterday, special counsel John Durham questioned the first witness of the trial of Russian national Igor Danchenko. Now, Durham has charged him with 5 counts of making false statements to the FBI over the 2016 anti-Trump dossier. FBI supervisory counterintelligence analyst Brian Auten testifying that a group of agents met with Christopher Steele overseas in early October 2021 about his dossier, which contained salacious allegations against Trump and members of his 2016 campaign. During questioning, Auten revealed the FBI offered Steele $1 million to corroborate the dossier's allegations against now former President Trump, but Auten testified that Steele could not.
That's a whole new level.
That's amazing.
Whole new level. $1 million if you'll just make this work.
Now, whether or not it was a, hey, please make it work, here's $1 million, or just, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million if this actually stands up. And the fact that he couldn't do it is the bigger part of the story to me. Like,
well, that's the 50% of it. The other part is, why is the FBI offering to pay a bounty?
Well, that's a good question.
$1 million bounty. It's not. It wasn't a matter of, okay, listen, I know you're going to be out. Let me compensate you for your vacation time or whatever you're doing. But $1 million in order to connect these, and then obviously Steele couldn't actually end up doing that. So there you go. More questions about the FBI. Good God.
The FBI has turned into like a horror show now. I don't know what's going on with those guys.
Now, what I want to know is how much of this Obama had to do with it.
Huh?
He was in office during when the Steele dossier stuff was going on, right?
Right.
Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was 2016.
2016
the election
campaign.
was
Yeah.
in 2016.
Yeah, he was still in the White House at the time.
We know
he was part of Crossfire Hurricane.
But we know that the Clinton campaign actually paid for the commissioning of the investigation.
Right.
Yeah. So really, it's more Hillary Clinton than it is anybody else.
Yeah. I know. But
all right. Quick note here: St. Louis County executive race. There's going to be a televised debate. Mark Mantovani and Sam Page are going to debate on November 1st at 7 p.m. So that's going to be carried on KPLR. They're hosting the debate, and it's going to be live streamed on Fox 2's website, fox2now.com. And it looks like that's going to be the only debate that the two are going to have. But given the crunched timeline, I'm actually pleasantly surprised that there is going to be a debate at all.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm surprised that Page agreed to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the fact that he is agreeing to it probably tells me that they're looking into the way things are going, and it's a little more uncomfortable for them than probably what they're willing to admit. Because they're admitting this. They probably look that they need to gain some ground, but I don't know how you defend what Sam Page has done. Not just the stuff that we're fired up here over the violation of people's rights, but just his performance as an executive, as a quote unquote leader, has been dismal since his time in office. So this race, I think, is just going to get more and more and more intense. So that's going to happen once again on the 1st. By the way, if you live in Missouri, you want to vote in the election in November, today is the deadline to be registered to vote. You need to do that today. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to vote in November. All right, just ahead, let's take a look at some of these constitutional amendments that Missouri voters are going to be deciding. We're going to hear from Byron Keelan from Freedom Principle, Missouri, and he's going to have that for us at 8:35.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Police on Monday arrested a 23-year-old man whose 2-year-old child found a gun between the driver's seat and shot himself inside a car while parked outside a South St. Louis AutoZone. The father was arrested after police said he told them he owned the gun and left it in the car. BNSF Railroad lifted its embargo on cargo destined for St. Louis ramps last week. BNSF first suspended its movement along the eastbound Pacific Southwest lane into St. Louis on August 29th because of congestion caused by excessive volume and chassis shortages. Peabody Energy announced it will keep its headquarters in downtown St. Louis. The coal company was debating leaving downtown due to an increase in surrounding violence. Peabody has been in St. Louis since 1958 and is one of the largest private sector coal companies in the world. Some visitors to Grants Farms Halloween nights over the past weekend complained about long lines and traffic jams. The president of Grants Farms said there are plans to add more police officers on site for traffic control and a faster check-in process. Topgolf has announced that its future Midtown location has begun construction. The Topgolf at Choteau and Compton will sit on 15 acres of underused and vacant land and will look just like the one in Chesterfield. The goal is to open the location in late 2023. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
News is getting a little bit better. They cleared a crash 70 westbound at Bermuda, so that's back on the go. We are still backed up, though, 270 northbound, just south of Big Bend. We've got a crash blocking that right exit lane as you go into the railroad overpass there. That traffic was still backed up pretty close to Gravois, about a 12-minute delay. We also have a delay at Olive and Warson. They're working to clear a pretty bad crash there. Their support is sponsored by Blindster. For blinds and shades, Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped straight to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Showers and thunderstorms at times throughout the morning hours. The cooler temperatures in the mid-60s, but not too bad. A high today in the low 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the 40s. The rain comes to an end. It's going to be a windy day and a cooler day tomorrow with a high of 65 degrees under mostly sunny skies. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Are you downright disgusted with the corruption of our Democratic leadership at St. Louis City Hall that's been reported in the news?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party City of St. Louis. If you want to put our city that we all love back on track, you must get involved. If you're ready to be part of the solution, we invite you. Come and meet us. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Do you live in St. Charles County? Then you can get Mid-Rivers News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. Mid-Rivers News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit midriversnewsmagazine.com/subscribe to get a copy delivered to your mailbox. Or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. Mid-Rivers News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Tim said, how about pseudo-fascist? That's probably the best. But they're not using it. See, somebody said, no, they didn't say quasi. I said quasi. I gotta remember what I say.
Well, I just don't know what semi-fascist could possibly be.
Half fascist. We're fesh. Semi-fascist would be fesh.
That sounds like the popular term.
The kids would say, oh my God, Ken, you're right. What's the sitch? Well, I'm a fash.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michaels has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michaels. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michaels. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michaels has to offer at igotfloored.com.
St. Louis's place to talk. The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
All right, in addition to deciding who the next senator from Missouri is going to be, whether it's Eric Schmidt or Trudy Bush Valentine, it's not going to be Trudy Bush Valentine, but anyway, and deciding your local state legislative race, Missouri voters actually have some really important decisions to make when it comes to constitutional amendments. And there are multiple ones on there. And the reality is most people don't actually go look up and read the text of it, which is one of the reasons that they get put on the ballot in this way, hoping that a marketing campaign can change our state constitution. Now, that's a whole different discussion, but we've got what we've got on the ballot. It is 6:37. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here, joined now by Byron Keelan from our friends at Freedom Principle Mo and Missouri First PAC. And all right, let's just start at the beginning. We got a limited amount of time, Byron. I know you all actually have a meeting coming up where you're going to go into these in more depth and get questions and go through it. When is that going to happen?
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Yes, thank you, and thank you for having me on. It's going to happen Monday, October 17th, at from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the St. Louis County Library Grants Village branch off of Music Road, so across from Grants Farm. We're going to have Josh Lehman from Missouri Rhino Watch and John Anton from the John Birch Society and talk about the various ballot initiatives and the constitutional amendments that are on the November ballot.
All right, so this coming Monday, then. All right, remind me to remind everybody, Byron, because I'll put that out. All right, let's just start at the beginning here. Constitutional Amendment number 1 has to do with overriding the current constitutional restrictions of the state investments by the state treasurer. Very wonky, very technical. What is this actually asking us to change?
Well, basically, for Constitutional Amendment 1, it's expanding the authority of the legislature and the treasurer to invest state tax dollars into broader or additional financial instruments or security areas. And so the state treasurer, right now is restricted by state law to only invest in certain things. And, with the amount of new financial investments that are coming out, this would give him the authority to expand this. The other aspect of this is that the state legislature, right now, we have all this excess money and things. And so what this would allow the legislature to do, instead of just spending it on government programs somewhere to get rid of it, or to, is to invest in securities also. So to use some of that like COVID relief money or excess tax dollar revenues that they could, instead of spending it on, like I said, spending on programs, they could invest it into state treasuries or to municipalities or other investments. The one thing about this is that we've seen with this greater flexibility would allow the state treasurer to also take investments out of certain banks and things if they start pushing the ESG scoring. And so by having a greater flexibility, they can prevent our monies from being wasted on social programs like ESG.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that this is something you think people should vote for.
Byron?
Did we lose Byron? Okay.
Yeah.
So, the bottom line is that they're saying that this is something that they support on this particular one. So Amendment 1 has the recommendation of Freedom Principle Missouri. All right, the next one here, Gabe, is the big one. Amendment 3 having to do with marijuana decriminalization. I really can't say legalization because it's really more of a decriminalization, and they're not actually the same thing. So decriminalization is just kind of stepping down the actual level of criminalization. There is some legalization, but within a lot of parameters.
Yeah, it seems to have a lot of built-in requirements, and actually new penalties, I think, is one of the arguments from other groups, too.
Okay, Byron, we're moving on to Amendment 3 right here. The big one, a lot of the focus is on the marijuana itself, but really we're looking at a lot of other aspects of this regarding the way that marijuana is being decriminalized. I think that's inevitable. Is Amendment 3 the right way to do it? Is this a good idea?
No, it's not. And our main opposition to this is two things. One is that this shouldn't really be a constitutional amendment. This issue really should and must be addressed by the legislature only. The other aspect of this, and while the Post-Dispatch wants to deny this, but it really does promote a diversity, inclusion, and equity agenda. And by establishing a chief equity officer in charge of determining whether the ESG requirements of the program are being followed, essentially, credit score for the marijuana industry. And the other aspects of it really is that it creates a monopoly for the medical marijuana businesses. They get first crack at putting or establishing a license for the legalization, and so it gives them sort of the control over the whole industry.
Yeah, and like you said, locking that into the state constitution on it as well. All right, so I've got a limited amount of time. We're visiting with Byron Keelan from Freedom Principle, Missouri. All right, Amendment 4. A lot of people don't realize there is an Amendment 4. And this, let me just read the ballot language. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to authorize laws passed before December 31st, 2026 that increase minimum funding for a police force established by a state board of police commissioners to ensure such police force has additional resources to serve its communities? We already have police forces. What's this all about?
Well, this is actually pertains mostly to Kansas City right now, but basically they're funding the Kansas City Board of Aldermen, or whatever their elected people are called, they've cut their funding down to like 20% of their budget. And this amendment is saying that anybody that has a state police or a police organization controlled by the state board of police commissioners has to maintain a minimum level of 25%. And so this would sort of stop the defunding of the police. There's a lawsuit by the mayor in Kansas City to try to cut funding, and so this would stop that. This has a potential impact for St. Louis because if the state board of control of St. Louis City Police Force goes back under the state, is that they would then be required to maintain this level too. So actually, that is one of the reasons why we are supporting this amendment.
Byron, Amendment 5 actually has language regarding our National Guard, Missouri National Guard, and I hadn't even heard of this one.
Yeah, this one happened, is that currently 48 states have a cabinet-level National Guard. Our governor is considered the commander-in-chief of the National Guard, and so under our law, actually the Department of Public Safety is in charge of the National Guard, and so the governor has to sort of go through multiple levels in order to dispatch the Guard or to do things. And so what this really would do is make it its own cabinet position, would streamline the proper chain of command and give the governor the ability to directly talk with the adjutant general of the Guard And then the budget process, in a sense, is that right now the Department of Public Safety controls the National Guard budget. This would take that out of their control.
Okay, so is siloing that a good idea?
Yes, we believe so. I talked to Adam Shorten, who's the state representative who pushed this, and he made a convincing argument that during the time of a natural disaster or state of emergency, time is of the essence. And the thing is that the Department of Public Safety sometimes has different views on things that the National Guard might be, and so we don't want to get politics involved in this. We want the National Guard to be able to respond, to the person that's the commander-in-chief, and so that's why we support this.
All right, and real quick, because we're a little heavy on time here, Byron, there is also a ballot initiative, not a constitutional amendment, but a ballot initiative calling for a constitutional convention. I've heard a lot of particularly... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is...
Pardon me, I'm sorry. Fighting off a sneeze there. Yeah, thank you, sir. Terrible time for that. But yeah, a lot of people may think, okay, is that the Article 5 Convention of the States thing?
No, it's not. This is for state of Missouri only. This is required by state statute that was put in a while back, that we must have this vote every 20 years. So we're opposing this because it is very confusing with the Federal Constitutional Convention. The other thing here is that the process for, if it did pass, could go very wrong. You basically have a few people that would be in charge of could rewrite the Constitution, or even with a simple majority, pass certain amendments without having to get a supermajority of the vote. So we just totally oppose this on all levels.
All right, and then the meeting that's going to go into more depth is going to happen next Monday. We'll remind people before that. This conversation is going to be available on our podcast on Newstalk STL as well, so people can take this and send it out everywhere if they want to consider what's on the ballot. Byron, we'll talk to you again soon. Appreciate you being on the program.
Great, and they can go to our website to download the actual recommendations.
And that is?
freedomprinciplemode.org.
Easy enough. All right, Byron, we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks.
All right, 314-912-1019. Do you agree or do you disagree? You have some thoughts on it? Let's finish out top of the hour going over these once again right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
It was pretty busy, but things are thinning out. We still are seeing delays at Olive and Warson due to a pretty bad crash. They cleared a crash northbound on 270 just before Big Bend here in the last 5 minutes or so. That traffic was backing up to 44, but now we'll start to see it clear out. Still some volume, 55 northbound Loughborough up to about 4500 South Broadway, but even that's doing better. Bridges downtown look all right. This report sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi's Chucky. I'm Joe Sonderman from the Newstalk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is here, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky is here to chuck stuff up, including our freeways. Chucky Season 2, Wednesdays 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Columbo and Katie.
Wednesday at 2:27, Tony and I will speak with Jonathan Dine. He's the Libertarian candidate running against Eric Schmidt and Trudy Bush Valentine for the U.S. Senate seat. And we'll also catch up with Mark Close.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022, Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
You feel good tonight?
They're back, cocked and loaded. The Family Arena presents 38 Special with special guests Molly Hatchet and Black Oak, Arkansas.
Saturday, November 19th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.com. Presented by the Family Arena.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a US-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dial off to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I think we've all had that work from home experience over the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
Gabe actually stumbled across somebody making a little different offer when it comes to that. I'm intrigued, Gabe. Explain it.
It's very intriguing. This headline caught my attention. Apparently, there's a pub chain over in the UK called Young's that's offering. It's basically they call it the WFP, work from pub scheme. So here's the deal. You get lunch and unlimited tea and coffee during the day for £15.
Which is like $16 or $17 with our dollars.
You add a tip, you got basically $20 a day. You can get your lunch, you get your free caffeine beverage of choice, and you get the camaraderie of all the other pub-going workers in your area.
Me.
It's a good idea. So apparently, this first launched in 2020 as a kind of like a pilot program, and then it spread out to all 185 Young's pubs throughout the UK. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about this is that it wasn't just to take advantage of the whole COVID lockdowns type of things, but they're using this to shore themselves up because of the coming energy spike. Right now, energy costs are doubling basically over there. So there's a good 7 out of 10 pubs that are probably not going to make it through the winter. So these guys are shoring it up by getting customers, getting butts in seats, getting customers in the door, and moving that.
And if you happen to want to buy an ale while you're there, they'll be happy to sell it to you.
Oh, sure. Like basically, you get off work and you're already at the pub for happy hour.
Okay,
guess what's going to happen?
Let's talk here. Which places around St. Louis should be offering this? All right.
Oh gosh, I like Cyberg's.
I love Cyberg's.
I love
that's right down the road from me.
That would be a cool place to just kind of sit there with my laptop and go.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do Cyberg's. Who else?
I don't spend many times in pubs.
Right, it's Italian. Italian restaurant.
Right.
Corner booth.
Canetto's House of Pasta.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah.
You leave them alone because they got business to attend to.
That's why I love
and
Canetto's.
in this case, it would be appropriate.
Right. And Canetto's, I love Canetto's because it's got that old time feel. It looks like a mob hit could happen at any moment.
There you go. You got to love that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to think of other places. I'm like, okay, guys, you know what?
Get this started.
Do it.
Hey, bring that across the pond here. I mean,
all your meal, all you can drink with your tea and coffee or whatever. And while I'm there, you can also sell me something else. I could see myself going for a dessert, maybe something else.
This actually sounds right up St. Louis Bread Co.'s alley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you
the beer.
Minus the beer, obviously, but still.
They kind of do that now. The Bread Co. on Clayton Road over there, Clayton and Big Bend, It's basically WashU student study hall. I mean, so they're kind of doing that already.
Yeah, but the thing is, you give them that cover charge, and then to cover their lunch,
right.
and then you keep the drinks coming, and then hey, you're having a coffee in the middle of your studies. You're gonna want a donut. You're gonna want a pastry or two.
Who doesn't?
Come on.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, because I don't live very far from there. That's where Rachel and I go sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of happening there as it is.
Yeah, we need this over here. Come on,
yes,
guys. Get on the ball.
Yeah,
and we can promote it.
I can think of a few different places that I'm thinking that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, $20, sure, I'm in. Go in there, get my lunch,
coffee all day.
You're talking my language there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, this sounds fun.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Unrelated.
Sure.
There's an ordinance for grass to flower ratio
yes,
on the books?
Yes. In St. Peter's, although I suspect most suburbs probably have that too.
What the?
I know.
Oh, the grass to flower ratio. I'm like, when did that come up?
And and the thing is, it's so important to St. Peter City Hall that they literally took the guy to court and had a trial over it yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, and there wasn't even a number. It's not like you need this percentage of your lawn dedicated to various types of grasses. It's like, does it have to be fescue or can it be?
Right. It's up to an individual discretion.
Yes, exactly. It's up to the discretion of the government leaders who want to take it to court.
Oh man,
that's ridiculous.
That's about control.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
just about control.
You need a trip to a pub.
Highlight Ozzy Vic Porcelli show today.
Mark Harder of the St. Louis County Council at 10:41, and at 10:05, Gates McGavick from the RNC.
Yeah, the St. Louis County Council, they're dealing with a big budget deficit because of a guy named Sam Page.
Ha!
Yeah.
Do you have a property that is more hassle than is worth? Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a property and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. Do you own an ugly property, a behind on mortgage payment property, a lazy tenant that won't pay rent property, a too much junk and clutter property, or even a, hey, I'm curious about a fair cash offer property? Well, don't worry. I buy them all, and I want to make you a fair cash offer. Call me at 314-293-3000.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LL.